Hey, Cahan,
Yes, Paris.
do you want to go to the movies?
Yes, I do.
Do you want to go see...
Sherlock Gnomes?
Oh my god, we're like reading the same mind.
I know, we've done this before.
No, we haven't. There's no evidence. I deleted it. This is not the second take. The Sir Brady Podcast, where two blokes talk movies, TV shows, superheroes, sci-fi, and pop culture, and an hour of absolutely stomach-clenching nonsense. Stay tuned for reviews, stories from the comments, and fans, and giveaways. I'm your host, Renalson.
And I'm Cahan Martin.
And this is the Sir Brady Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sir Brady Podcast. Excuse if there's any microphone problems. There's something wrong. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we can't be bothered finding
It might just be me on the inside.
Oh.
Yeah, so excuse the random mic problems. I'm talking normal voice,
And so am I.
and then when I'm barely talking loud, my fling goes all flippy. I'm not drunk, but I'm slurring my words. What have you been doing, officer? Today is just Avengers Day. It is Happy Avengers Day.
Happy Avengers Day.
May the 6th of Avengers be with you.
6 Infinity Stones.
Oh my god. You find a connection. I didn't do any news. We're just going to get straight into
Thanos has 5 fingers. It's the 5th month.
He's got balls for his chin.
It's 2018.
There's got no connection at all. So yeah, today there's no news, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys some statistics on the Avengers Infinity War, which has broken so many records for movies. This is coming straight from the greatest source of them all, Wikipedia. So firstly, the film was the first film to gross $1 billion in 11 days.
11,
Star Wars
I thought it was 10.
No, it was 11. I just read it again. It says 11. The Force Awakens did it in 12 days.
Oh,
so only just beat The Force Awakens, which held the previous record. It is currently only the second highest grossing film of this year, but it's behind Black Panther, which also grossed $1 billion. So I'd say in like a week's time, it's going to be its opening weekend. This is the weekend. It grossed $641 million worldwide, which is more than Justice League grossed in its entire run in theaters.
Yeah.
And in the United States alone, United States and Canada alone, it got $258 million, setting the record for the highest grossing openings for both of those as well.
Wow.
So that is the quickest grossing film.
It got the money the fastest.
Yeah, so fast. That was, and I said this before. I was like, imagine if people did this for other things, raising money for the poor. If people in 10 days raised $1 billion, would be incredible. But enough about that. Funnily enough, it's also one of the most expensive movies ever made.
How much?
With an estimated budget of $320 million.
Oh, goddamn.
So, she take the money. Need. What else did I write? Yeah, so it's record breaking. And so that's all I've got for stats right now. We'll talk about critical reception later on. We're just going to get straight into it. The first 20 minutes, I would say, of this is going to be non-spoilers. So if you haven't seen Avengers Infinity War, you are in the minority. Yep. So congratulations if you've never been a minority before. Otherwise...
Oh.
I don't know. That's a tasteless joke. I'm sorry. But yes, the first 20 minutes, we're going to do spoiler-free. Which will be quite difficult. So if you don't want to know anything at all about Avengers Infinity War, stay off the internet because there has been some...
And I congratulate you on staying off the internet for
the past if you have been staying off the internet. Also, how did you find this podcast if you're not using the internet? So if you don't want to know anything at all, don't listen to this. The non-spoilers will be as best as we can, but then most of the podcast will be spoilers. After the spoilers...
Soft spoiler warning for the first 20 minutes. Because
spoilers warning for everything. If you don't want to know, just don't do it. It's like drugs. If you don't want to know, just don't do it.
What?
I'm slightly sleep deprived. Maybe. I use that excuse too often.
No, your hair supports it.
My hair supports it. Okay, I'm going to add a photo of my hair on the photos. What were we talking about?
Spoilers.
Oh yeah, so first 20 minutes and then the first 3 spoilers. After the spoilers, we're going to have some comments from some friends and some fans who want some questions answered. We're going to try our best to sort of decipher them if we can't. And at the end, if we have any time at the end, we'll do what we did when you weren't listening. Yep. But I think the only thing we did was watch Avengers and go to school.
Yeah.
Like good kids.
Yeah.
So let's get started. Firstly, I'm going to do this awesome synopsis, which I stole from the Marvel Studios website.
Ah.
This is the Avengers movie summary. As the Avengers and their allies have continued to protect the world from threats too large for any one hero to handle, a new danger has emerged from the cosmic shadows. Thanos. Despot. A despot of intergalactic infamy. His goal is to collect all 6 Infinity Stones, artifacts of unimaginable power, and use them to inflict his twisted will on all of reality. Everything the Avengers have has led up to this moment. The fate of the Earth and existence itself has never been more uncertain. Cahan.
Crayon.
Yeah, Crayon. I keep calling you Seaman, and that's not a good nickname, so I'm going to call you Crayon.
That's great. Now everyone listening knows that.
It's time for our Wikipedia rundown. This is the new segment I'm going to add to our film one, where I'm going to force one of us, to read the Wikipedia to summarize everything. So
Essentially stolen content.
it's plagiarism in its finest.
Yeah, it's just
It's up. You have to do it.
Okay.
Can you see the screen?
No, I can't.
Okay, I'm going to move it. There you go. So I want you to read the first paragraph down to Infinity Stones.
Nice.
And I want you to read it as best you can without talking into the microphone too much. There you go. You ready?
Can I do it without any pauses? Shall we see if I can do it without any pauses?
Oh, when you get to the actors' names, we're going to go back and forth.
Oh, okay, so I'll try and get to there without any pauses.
Okay. Ready? Go.
Avengers Infinity War is a 2018 American superhero film based off the Marvel Comics superhero team Avengers. Produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, it is a sequel of 2012's The Avengers and 2015's The Avengers Age of Ultron, and the 19th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film is directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. Is it Mac or Mick? McFeely, and features an ensemble cast including Robert Downey Jr.,
Chris Hemsworth,
Mark Ruffalo,
Chris Evans,
Scarlett Johansson,
Benedict Cumberbatch,
Don Cheadle,
Tom Holland,
Chadwick that name always
Chadwick
Boseman,
Paul Bettany,
Elizabeth Olsen,
Anthony Mackie,
Sebastian Stan,
Denai Gura,
this one always gets me.
Lolita Wright,
Yep, Dave Bautista,
Zoe Saldana,
Josh Brolin, and
Chris
Pratt.
Pratt.
In Avengers Infinity War, the Avengers...
We're going in the Infinity Mall.
Yeah, of course. The Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy attempt to stop Thanos from collecting the Infinity Stones.
Yay! That is a rundown. And hopefully that was the 20 minutes. So now let's get into spoilers. No.
I don't know how we're going to do this.
How are we going to do it? It is so difficult. So also spoilers for every other MCU film, because we need to talk about the lead up to this film.
Yeah.
So the last films before this have been Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, that's phase 3. Yeah.
So that is almost all, and Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So those main characters in this film, you last saw them in those films.
At some point.
At some point, you saw them in those films. So I thought we should quickly run through some of these characters and just sort of recite real quick where they've been. So Tony Stark.
Semi-retired Avengers from the.
So there's two squadrons. There's two versions of the Avengers. There is
the Rogue Avengers.
The Rogue, which is Cap and
everyone else on his team.
So Falcon and now Black Widow.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, kind of.
It just seems like those 4.
Yeah.
And then you got your official Avengers,
which is Iron Man,
Vision, and
War Machine.
And that's it.
Is there anyone else?
No.
No, because T'Challa and Spider-Man didn't count. We last saw Iron Man.
Maybe T'Challa. Oh no, but he did betray them.
He signed the Accords.
Yeah, so maybe, but not really, because he's happy.
Iron Man we last saw in Spider-Man Homecoming. He was partially tutoring Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was like being a mentor.
Yeah, he offered him
the Iron
Spider suit,
film.
which is awesome. And also, he was... we saw Happy Hogan had the ring, and it looks like they've either announced their engagement. I'm not sure if the weddings happened yet. It was kind of unclear. But that's where Iron Man was. Thor. Last time we saw him, he was
on a ship.
Which is
flying away from a
Asgard is not a place; it is a people.
With
With
foundations.
Korg. Oh yeah, if the foundations are still good, we could rebuild. Oh no, those foundations are gone. So that was where Thor was. He was last. He's now king. He's heading for Earth. He's king of Asgard. He
lost an eye.
He did.
Yep. Lost his sister too.
He lost everyone. So with him was the Hulk. So
Yeah.
Hulk was with him
Hulk,
on thing.
yeah.
I'm guessing they were heading to Earth.
Yeah.
Drop him off,
The
maybe.
last line was it?
Yeah, well, because
Earth is.
Thor considers Earth like a partial home.
Yeah.
Who's next? Captain America. We last saw him. He had just broken Civil War.
Yeah. He was leaving with Bucky.
He was.
And he'd broken his friends out of jail.
So he'd broken them out of that underwater submerged thing, and he had given Bucky over to T'Challa. And in Wakanda. So that's where we last saw him. Black Widow. Actually, last time we saw her, she was talking to Tony on a balcony.
And that's it.
And she turned around. And that was like, not at the end of Civil War. It was quite early.
At the end of like the second act. He was like, they're going to come for you.
Yeah. That was the last time we saw her. Stephen Strange was in Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
He helped Thor and Loki locate Odin.
Yep.
Looks like he was just improving his mythical abilities. Rhodey, we last saw...
Falling out of the sky.
Tony Stank.
Yeah, Tony Stank.
He seems to be trying to recover from his injuries.
Injuries.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man, we saw, like we said before, Hogan and Stark, and he was giving up. So he was still
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Secretly, I said.
Secretly.
Neighborhood Spider-Man, he was doing that. He was just hanging around. Literally hanging around. Get it? Because he's a spider. T'Challa, we saw he announced to the United Nations, I think it was, that this is Wakanda. This is what Wakanda is. We are a better nation than the rest of you.
Yeah.
We have vibranium.
Yeah. Leave us alone.
Leave us alone. Where was Vision? Last time we saw Vision, he was literally holding a chess piece.
Yeah.
Sitting in the Avengers thing. So that's last time we saw.
So he's been playing chess this entire time.
By himself. Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, we just saw...
Break out of prison.
Yeah, being broken out of prison. Falcon, broken out of prison. Barnes, we saw at the end of Black Panther.
Yes.
We saw that Shuri and some other Wakandans were working with him to... White Wolf, yes. They were trying to remove the Hydra brainwashing, trying to get him back on his feet. Loki, we last saw on the ship. Heimdall, we last saw on the ship. And the Guardians, we all last saw on their ship.
On their ship, yeah.
And other than that, Thanos, last time we saw him, end of Age of Ultron.
End of Age of Ultron, yeah.
He pulled out the gauntlet. Fine, I'll do it myself. Now what? I don't know what to talk about with non-spoilers.
Yeah, non-spoilers. It's so hard.
Because we've sort of run down the story a bit, so we know that everyone's sort of separated. You got two different factions of the Avengers. Yeah. You have other heroes that have met each other. The Guardians are doing their own thing. You have Thor and the Asgardians and their ships. So everyone's separated.
Yeah.
And I guess this isn't a spoiler, but Thanos is obviously now he's doing it himself. In previous times, he's sent Loki to deal with he sent Ronan away to deal with the gems. Now with his band of misfits. I don't know what their name is.
Yeah, the Black Order.
The Black Order. I'm going to call them the Band of Misfits.
Yeah.
He is doing it himself. He's looking for the gems himself.
Actively looking for the Infinity
So we know in the trailers that he has one. He's at least got one, depending on which trailers you watch. That's all I'm saying. He's at least got one.
At least got one.
So now he's doing it himself. We know that he's ended up on all sorts of planets. I'm honestly going to start the spoiler warning because this is close enough to 20 minutes. So, spoilers ahead. If you don't want to know anything about this, thank you for listening to the Sir Brady Podcast.
Go catch that movie.
Yeah, I don't know why you're not watching it.
Yeah.
Unless...
Why you haven't.
Yeah.
The movie doesn't just get $1 billion.
Yeah. That $1 billion, like, no one just conjured it up.
Yeah,
no one was like, here's $1 billion.
That's strange.
That would be crap. That'd be great. All right. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Story beats. Let's just start from the beginning. So, the film opens with
Asgardian ship's just been trashed.
Somebody's trying to send out a mayday, which is actually later received by the Guardians. Sending out a mayday, and like you said,
it's
ship's
just been
trashed.
Yeah.
You see
Asgardian people lying everywhere.
Dead.
The ship's in ruins. It's in a wreck.
Yep.
And we're introduced to everyone by a nice monologue.
Yeah,
from,
absolutely.
Ebony Moore. He's preaching to the Asgardians about how their lives have been sacrificed in the goal of a better pursuit or whatnot.
And you get an idea about when Thanos starts his sort of journey, you get a better understanding about what that means. So we learn, obviously, is that he's not wiping out an entire race. He's wiping out half of every race without being specific. So you can have broke people, you can have rich people.
Yep.
So with the Asgardians, as we know, there's very little of them left. Yes. Hela dealt with a lot of them on Asgard in Ragnarok. So that ship was not very big.
No.
So on the ship, we don't see them, but we are aware that Korg and Valkyrie, just straight off are okay, they're alive. Yep. Also, Heimdall and Loki and Thor were all okay, and so was the Hulk.
Yep. And
then they weren't okay.
Then Thanos came along.
What I liked about the opening of this, a friend of mine said, he didn't like how the style of Ragnarok was just forgotten about straight up. Yep. But I thought, at the end,
there's still tones of it.
There is, but you see, not a lot of people got it. But it was a mid-credit scene of Ragnarok. You see Thanos' ship hovering, this huge ship hovering over the Asgardians one, and obviously what we learn is they just started, destroying them.
But there are tones of. I mean, your friend's right. Like Ragnarok is kind of just. No, but I mean, the thing I liked about Ragnarok was like a very self-contained story.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it doesn't have much what's before it and what after. It really doesn't have impact what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's got to do with things like Sakaar and the Grandmaster, and that's a very.
And the only thing that really could change going forward is like the character.
Absolutely,
and Thor's a lot more witty now.
Also, the Hulk Banner relationship, which we've talked about before. They've established that Ragnarok, Avengers: Infinity War, and the Untitled sequel. There's going to be this arc for Hulk and Banner. Hulk was 2 years as Hulk. Banner was just locked away. And now you've got the other side of that now, where a lot of this film, Banner was in control. Yeah. But he wanted Hulk back, and Hulk was not.
Hulk didn't want to come back. Yeah.
So we'll talk about that later, about maybe why that is. So obviously Thanos, he straight up killed Heimdall. Yeah. Heimdall and Loki.
Oh, well, yeah, Heimdall saves Hulk.
Yep.
Because Hulk versus Thanos, round one, was very fast.
It was very fast.
It's like, and what just caught my eye, and this, I guess, just a technical point of view thing, is the fluidity of which Thanos moved.
Yeah, he's quite quick.
He's like really quick and fluid, and I mean, that's obviously one part's like really good CGI, but on the second part, it's like, he's not like the Hulk. The Hulk,
because of he's such a big,
and he's like big punches, but this guy is like busting out kung fu moves almost.
Absolutely,
like martial arts. It looked like it, and I was like, dang,
he's agile. Yeah, it's quite. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you tell from that
he's not just a brawler.
No,
it's not like Thanos is just this big guy who smashes people and he got the stones. No, he's a warrior.
Absolutely,
he has a fighting technique and everything in it.
Absolutely,
it's just almost from the get go. It's like. What that's what checked him out. It wasn't that he was beating the crap out of the Hulk. It was the fact of how he was doing it. That's what caught my eye.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And what I liked was also Ebony Maw was just like, let him have his fun. And I was like, that is because there was one of the other ones. What the hell? I can't remember what they're called. Is it Coal Obsidian or is it
Coal Obsidian's the big one, isn't it?
Yes.
Coal Obsidian's the big guy.
So like he's
Ebony Proxima, or is the
so Ebony Maw is the sort of Squidward.
Yeah.
Coal Obsidian is the sort of the same size as Hulk and Thanos. Yeah, he's about to join in, and Ebony's like, no, let him have fun. That shows you that the Black Order, the children of Thanos, know. Yeah. Thanos is just gonna lose some breath, maybe. So Heimdall uses the.
Let's put it this way: Hulk didn't even bruise Thanos.
No, and there's a great quote later on from Thanos when he says to Stark, and he's like, "All that for a drop of blood." Like that's terrifying to me. It is honestly it's really really intimidating. He was incredibly intimidating.
But like Iron Man, that's scary. Iron Man, drop of blood, that's barely anything, and Thor, obviously at the end of the film, they're the only ones that actually injured Thanos in any sort of way.
Absolutely, yeah. The amount of people he goes through, and at times, obviously, he's got the gems when he's up against Thor and Stark. Yeah. But with Hulk, he's not. That is one gem, and he doesn't use it.
He doesn't use it at all.
And that is just pure. And that's the Hulk, man. That is he is such a towering presence.
And it just goes to show that he isn't just a guy that just stumbled upon the Infinity Stones. He's a guy that's pursued his vision for a lot longer before.
And you get an idea of that, and we'll talk about this later on when he meets the Stonekeeper,
Yeah.
when he reintroduces himself to Nebula and Gamora, you get an idea of that. So yeah, let's quickly go through that sort of first act. So Heimdall sends Hulk back to Earth.
Yep.
And then, I told you this afterwards, if Heimdall didn't do what he did, and if Loki didn't attempt to stab Thanos, I think he would have let them live.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that if they
He'd be
didn't...
part of the half.
Yeah, that would be a part of the half. But then he says to Heimdall, he said, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And then they stab him, they kill him, and he's gone. And you could see, and what I really liked about the scene was, and we'll talk about this later, is the acting in this film.
Yeah.
The little people, you look at there's a little paragraph at Wikipedia, and it says really positive reviews from critics who praise cast, visual effects, emotional weight of the story, action scenes, but the runtime received some criticism. And what I realized about this film is the talk, with other films you get that come out, some of the early MCU films like The Incredible Hulk and that, some of the talk is like, oh, the acting was okay, the visuals were okay. With this film, I don't recall anyone talking
bad about the acting.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's all these actors have played their role before.
Yes.
Aside from the Black Order, everyone has been in a film before playing their character. They've established their character. They understand that role, and this works for DC and Marvel. These and I think DC's casting is just as great as Marvel.
Yes.
I think Henry Cavill is the one exception. He's been misguided in his performances, but Kevin Feige has gone out and got actors who are talented and know their characters and can really perform acting. In that scene with Heimdall and Loki, Thor is strapped down and he's like, "You're going to pay for that," when Heimdall dies. And what broke my heart was when he killed Loki, and you hear this, like, it's the scream, because he's got his mouth
like
gets
music,
covered, and he's like, the scream, and you can hear it, he's like choking up. You can hear the anger and the sadness
agony,
and just the scream. And it's terrific acting to be able to, we do this thing in drama with masks, where you put a mask on your face, you can't talk, you can't emote. And you have to use your body and sounds to perform. And that just shows you the sort of just the little things that people watching this movie won't be like, oh, that was brilliant acting.
Yeah.
But you subconsciously pick those things up, and it's brilliant. So Thanos gets the Tesseract, which we saw Loki nick from the vaults on Odin's vault on Asgard. He gives it, and out of nowhere, I didn't expect this. I thought Thanos would get one or two over this film.
Yeah.
Straight up, first 5 minutes, 2 stones, boom, bang, out of there.
Yeah.
And then they decide to blow up whoever's left on the ship. So I think they let some of them go. Yeah. Because we've confirmed that Korg and Valkyrie are alive.
Yeah.
They were not on that ship. That ship gets blown up. Boom, he's out of there.
Yeah.
Following that, we go to Earth. Yes. Hulk crash lands into the Sanctum Sanctorum. It looks like the Doctor was going to get like a muffin or something, or a coffee. Yeah. And he says that Thanos is coming.
And Doctor Strange is like, who? And then boom, title screen.
That was good. Stark is with Pepper Potts. Strange talks to Stark. Banner introduces himself, explains to Stark what's going on. And out of nowhere, I thought he was going to call Rogers. Everyone's going to get together, have a bit of a talk. Nope. Ebony Moore is there. And
Obsidian.
Yeah.
Cole
Obsidian. And they're there. And they're just starting to attack. And
going after the time stone.
And out of nowhere, I love that scene because
it's probably my favorite character interaction in the film. Hey dude, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizards. that little sequence there, I mean, I can't say I just said it was my favorite, but not only my favorite, it's my favorite kind of interaction in the film. Just the small, and it has been for the past couple Marvel movies where
is it like this realism?
Characters have intercrossed where it's like little comments and that hold maybe like a little bit of friendship to them. It's like. Yeah, these guys have been friends for actually a very long time.
They do know each other.
And it just makes it all so much more realistic. Almost.
Absolutely. And it's that thing where when the cameras aren't on, these films, aside from a couple of missteps, when they're released, the time that's passed between the release dates is the time within the universe. So you get an idea that you feel like there's been other things that have happened inside the universe. You feel like, between the first Avengers and Age of Ultron, there was, Hulk and Iron Man had some time, as Banner and Stark.
Friends,
exactly, and that's where the whole Ultron project, they've tried, they tried that before, so they know each other. And those scenes like that. And that scene was really powerful, I think, and you instantly see the power of Thanos' minions.
Yes.
His minions, the people below Thanos, are almost undefeatable.
Yeah.
Already, you know. So you had Strange, you had Wong, you had Stark.
Anthony Moore
He
just destroys Doctor Strange.
He does, and if it wasn't for his cape.
Yeah.
Also, Parker shows up and he starts to help out as well. And then, as Stark calls it, the flying donut goes up into space and takes Strange, Parker, and Tony into space. Wong goes back and protects the Sanctum Sanctorum, and Banner has got the phone, and he's going and he goes to call over the other Avengers. We then go over to Scotland, where we have Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Been secretly hooking up over the past 2 years.
I don't know what they're trying to. If they're trying to just establish a relationship, they're trying to. Obviously, in the comics, they've had kids in the comics. They've been married. Whether or not, because I think what I got out of this is this. Either Tony doesn't know. I think Tony didn't know that Vision was secretly in contact with Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
So they were doing this because they talked about getting on the train and da 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 da. Out of nowhere, the Order comes and gets. It's just
the other two of the Order.
The other two of the Order have just shown up. So that's Proxy Midnight and Corvus something. Yeah. So Midnight and Corvus come up.
A battle ensues.
It does, and we get reintroduced to Captain America.
Yeah.
No Shield, Falcon, and we now realize that Natasha has just joined them.
Black Widow.
That scene. We saw it in the trailer with them trying to get the gem out of Vision's head. You know that again. You see the power of the minions already.
Yeah.
I like about seeing
is if Cap and stuff didn't turn up, they would have beat Vision and Scarlet Witch.
It would have. I think it would have only lasted a little bit longer.
Yeah, and those are arguably two of the most powerful characters that have been established.
And we have put them on the back seat. In Civil War, Vision took a back seat because he didn't want to fight his friends. You know, and there's a joke later on by Okoye who's like, "Why was she up there all that time?" Yeah. You know, it's that thing of like they're so powerful, but it's dangerously powerful. They're still learning about their powers. That sequence, obviously, the Avengers, they then end up back at the compound.
Yeah, I kind of found it funny in the cinema. I know it's a movie, so you can't take it too seriously, but like they're handing the business to Vision, who has an Infinity Stone in his head, and Wanda, who has her powers from an Infinity Stone, and then just 3 humans turn up and beat the crap out of him.
That showed you the power of
the teamwork and stuff like that. Is that what you're on about?
But no, whatever that spear was that just destroyed. That's because Vision's made out of vibranium. Yeah. That shows you how powerful their weapons are. Vibranium is the strongest metal on Earth, and that got through him in a way. It didn't go right through him. It pierced him, and then they slowly just attacked more and more into those spaces. Yeah. And as he said later, "You're dying like any other man." Yeah. Which I was like, damn. But yeah, so they all go back to the compound. You get to see General Ross is back. He was just there talking to Rhodes.
That's one thing I didn't like about the film.
Why not? I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, and I guess it fits the universe because it didn't go the Accords didn't go the way they did. But the great thing about Civil War is you came out of it like both were right in their own sort of way. Yeah. They both. But the way it depicted the Accords now was like, oh shit, that really was a terrible idea. I had a feeling that obviously I think the general knew that an invasion had begun again, and I think they were trying to follow the Accords, and I think that process of getting people to sign it, and they know. I think because Rhodey said, or was it no? Cap said, your best Avenger is gone. And so they meant Stark is gone, and you're left with Rhodey, who is still, I think, wasn't exactly field work, and Vision, who's now fucked, and if the Accords meant they couldn't, for that fight, allow Cap and Romanoff and Falcon and Scarlet Witch to join in, what would they expect? Vision still has a gem. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like it's so many flaws, and I understand Rhodey going, "That's a court-martial, turning off the thing," and then just saying, "Screw it, we have to do this because it will literally ruin the world." So I understand the fact that they can't pay it's Avengers Infinity War. It's not like let's settle the Accords in a way that's nice and everyone's absolutely nice. I mean, they can't pay attention to that, and that's fine. But It's just one little thing that kind of just nagged me. It wasn't a big problem. I didn't
Yeah.
take away from the story, but it's like, it's a shame to see such like a pivotal thing that was such important for a big film.
Absolutely.
You know, be like, side note.
Yeah, absolutely.
And handled it in the way it was.
I liked the reintroduction of Banner to
Yes,
Romanoff
yes.
because you can't dwell on that more. I don't think
Yeah.
within this movie at least. If the apparent Black Widow movie happens,
Still a smoke screen in my mind.
yeah, it's still a smoke screen. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like I love to choose Wilson. To have Falcon be like, well, this is awkward. That's a good character to choose, And the thing was, Banner wasn't going to be like, let's run away,
Yeah.
Thanos is coming.
Yeah.
It's, hey, I'm back. We've got to deal with this. I
Hi,
like.
I'm back, and this Thanos guy's coming.
yeah.
Let's do this.
I didn't invite him, but and that whole team talk as well about, the Vision Scarlet Witch. I think is my second favorite storyline in this.
Yes.
My first is Thanos and Gamora. Is my favorite storyline is the
In
thing,
between two characters kind of thing.
yeah, in between like two characters. Singularly, it would just be Thanos. Thanos is my favorite storyline. But the thing with Scarlet Witch and Vision, that whole talk about what do we do,
Yeah.
and Vision's like, we just destroy it.
Yeah.
And he didn't really realize that people were warmed up to you, Vision. We like you.
We like you.
Um,
But Vision doesn't
yeah.
see it like that.
No, he
It's like-
doesn't.
and one line that I really kind of stuck with me
Mm.
is that Cap's like, we don't do that.
We don't trade
We
lives.
don't trade life. But Vision's like, but didn't you trade your life to save millions? Or, back
in the World War
back
II,
in the World
yeah.
War II. And I'm like, well, you're kind of right, isn't it?
But I think, again, that's perspective.
It's perspective, and that's the great thing about how they form these characters.
The evolution of these characters
evolution.
through these films, exactly. Rogers has learned. I think he's just learned.
He's changed, but his core character stays the same.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, like before in like Age of Ultron, he was happy taking orders and stuff, but now he's like, wait, what did he say to Ross? I'm far past something like listening to the rules or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
At his core, he's still a genuine person. He's like, we don't trade one life for many more, but his other aspects have evolved,
Absolutely, yeah.
and it's so great to
That's
see.
another thing I noticed with Stark. He said to Strange when Strange was like, "If I had to choose between you, the kid, or the gem, choosing the gem."
Yeah.
And Stark was like, "A guy with a moral compass." I like that. That's something he said to Rogers in Age of Ultron. I like a guy without a dark side, a moral compass. That's Stark as well. In his core, he's still like that. And again, earlier on, when Potts pointed out the arc reactor.
Yeah.
And, he was alluding back to Iron Man 3. He said,
He's
you're going to
just,
let
"I'm
that
just
go.
trying
He's
to
like,
be big."
he's a tinkerer.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. said that in an interview. They're taking the element from Iron Man 3 back about being a tinkerer.
Yeah.
And I thought that was quite a
I mean,
smart.
their core characters still remain the same, but the events of the movies have changed them.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's just so great to see.
Yeah. They talk about that. They recommend going to Wakanda. We then, so they said, let's go to Wakanda. I think they can get rid of the gem without destroying Vision.
Yep.
And my favorite thing was Banner was like, Vision is Jarvis, Ultron, the gem, Banner, and
Tony,
Stark.
yeah.
And I was like, I never thought about it that way. But it is. And also, you take one of those things away, you still have Vision. Like, he's almost the
Yeah.
sixth part of that,
He's-
which
yeah.
I thought was quite an interesting...
It's an amalgamation of the five.
Absolutely, and almost by doing that, you create a sixth person. So by removing one of those, do you change it? Do you not? We then head over to the Guardians, who are responding to the stress call. They then they see Thor just
Thor.
floating in space. That was one of the funniest.
The sequence was just hilarious.
What I like about it is I've heard rumors that James Gunn wrote that scene.
Yeah.
And I think by that they mean dialogue, just to make sure that it flowed right.
not the same.
And that's what I think worked was by introducing the Guardians to Thor, who Thor knows the Avengers. That being able to do that full circle worked really well. But also it was just, people may talk about the comedy working and not working within these scenes. The thing about doing comedy in a film is it's got to make sure it makes sense to the character you are looking at.
Yeah.
If Thanos is cracking jokes, that doesn't work for this film. But it's those authentic characters. And it's not that they're making jokes. Some of the funniest things to me in Guardians is the character of Drax, his species. That joke from the first one where it's like things go over his head.
Yeah.
It's like they don't know how to catch it. It's him and
he's
Mantis.
so literal.
Yeah, and Mantis's character as well in Guardians 2, where they're like, they were talking to each other and they made friends and they started talking to each other and Drax is like, you are horrifying to look at.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm ugly. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's these two.
And he's like, yeah, because beautiful people don't know.
Yeah.
Something about genuine.
If you're ugly on the outside, people love you for who you are on the
People
inside.
never know that.
Yeah, but that scene, so the scene with the Guardians and Thor, and just like they were like looking at Thor like, this is a man. Yeah. You're not a man. Yeah. It's great writing. You're a dude. Yeah. And then Gamora's like touching him, was like, can you stop stroking his arm? Yeah. They wake him up, and
he's like the byproduct of like, what was it, a warrior and an angel?
Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah.
Also, I liked the bit of, it's brief, Gamora and Thor's scenes, but when they're like, Gamora is the daughter of Thanos, and then they relate over this sort of broken family, which I didn't realize till earlier that the Nebula, Gamora, Loki, Thor parallels are very similar, and I liked that, and I thought that was really smart. So Thor says he takes Rocket and Groot to
the star,
the dying star, where dwarfs are, which also we'll get into Peter Dinklage in a moment. But that is, I love people going, why are dwarves big in this universe? Yeah. Because why not?
Why not?
And the fact that they chose one of the greatest actors, not just small actors on the world, but Peter Dinklage, I thought was great. It's great. And then obviously the dumb group. Peter, Gamora, Drax, and Mantis head over to nowhere. Yeah. Also, the thing I like about this film is the little moments that happened in previous films. Some people will miss it. Yeah. Fans who have been watching these may or may not get it, but they talked about how because the Asgardians gave the Collector the ether. Yeah. And they were going to give the Collector the Power Stone, and then they didn't, and they gave it to the Nova Corps, and then obviously Nova Corps all perished, or half of them perished, and then Quill was like, giving it to the Collector, who's stupid enough to do that? You guys were. You were the ones that, so they split their ways, and again, the splitting of the teams, to sort of, it's that weird thing of like a horror movie where it's like, we've got to split up. Yeah. But this is how it works properly.
Yeah, and we've got to split up. You do got to split up.
Exactly. Scooby-Doo is, that when Scooby-Doo do it doesn't work. Yeah. When the Avengers do it, it kind of works. Yeah.
From here, do you want to break it down into teams so we talk about a team at a time? This is where it really kind of branches off.
So we'll talk about teams. So let's go through.
Let's go with Captain America's team first. Huh?
So we talk about their sort of. I'm literally just reading the Wikipedia and going through the beats. Of the film.
Why don't we just go teams now, because it's what we wrote down.
Is that what we wrote down? Okay, so
what team do you want to start off with? We'll go with,
because at the moment I'm reading Thor, and
we'll go with Thor's team then.
So Thor goes to the dying.
No, they don't go nowhere. The others go nowhere.
Nidavellir, Nidavei.
Nidavellir or something like
that. Peter Dinklage's house.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage's place.
So they go to. Ateri, who is Peter Dinklage's character, who is a dwarf, a giant dwarf, but dwarfs are just giant in the universe. He's not a giant dwarf. Dwarfs are big in the Marvel universe.
Yes, they just are.
And his people were the ones that created the gauntlet, which is, so they have the ability to sort of create artifacts that can withhelm very powerful.
Yeah, very powerful. Yeah,
so he
forged the gauntlet for Thanos. Yeah.
Yes. And so Thor goes to him. We're up here somewhere. Okay. It's sort of
I'll just follow it.
Yeah. So he goes there, and Thor asks, you need to do this. Yeah. It's not, because also Thanos removed his hands. Yeah. So it's not your hands that do it. It's the brain that makes the thing. Obviously in Ragnarok he lost Mjolnir. So he needed a new hammer. Yeah. So Groot and Rocket and Drax, they find out the star is out. Yeah. They need to reboot it. Yeah. They go and do that. Over in nowhere, Quill, Drax, Gamora, and Mantis find Thanos with the Reality Stone, but you don't realize he has it yet. You're like, oh, the Collector, great. And then, as always, Peter's like Earth knowledge. Yeah. So he's like, he did the fist in the air, which means stop. And then it's subtle comedy because they're aliens. They don't know what that means, and obviously they haven't had the conversation yet. Or what passed, as we know, Drax, after accusing Ronan as being the murderer of his family, he then was like, actually, it's Thanos I'm after. Yeah. And in that scene, Gamora attacks him. Yeah. We think, he's dead. He's dead. Nope. Thanos has the Reality Stone already, and he's just removed it, and he just expected Gamora to come. He toys with them, Drax goes to hit him. Reality Stone, he turns into
Blokes.
little blocks. Mantis doesn't even do anything, but he's like, nah, you're done.
Yeah.
And this is one of my favorite scenes because of how heartbreaking it was.
Yeah.
Earlier, just before this, Gamora told Quill,
If Thanos gets a hold of me, you have to
kill me.
Yeah.
And I adore Zoe Saldana as an actress. I think she's one of the most talented actresses out there right now. And it was just the way she emotes. You know, I remember reading this piece not too long ago saying that black actors are being wasted because they're playing aliens. Because she's played Nateri in Avatar and Gamora in this. I was like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You're an actor, you're an actor. And that scene with Thanos, and he's like, oh, the boyfriend.
Yep.
And Peter makes a few jokes. Oh, you should have gone right. Oh, I'm a Titan killing.
Yeah.
Get that ball sack off your face.
Yeah.
And then Gamora's like, not him.
Yeah, me.
And then Thanos gets it. He's like, oh, okay. And the way he's just like, she asked, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
And then pushes
Shoves her
pushes
right
in front of it. And then Quill does it. But Thanos, it's the bubbles because the Thanos didn't really. And then he's like, I like him. Boom, he's gone.
He's out.
I was like, my heart was like skipping beats.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that
my
is
God.
legitimate fear
Yeah.
I felt for these
Yeah.
characters. Like, it's such a well orchestrated scene. You get an idea because Gamora at first, like, she thinks she killed Thanos, and then she starts crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, because that's her
Dad.
her
She
dad.
doesn't like him, but still her dad.
You can't, some people, it doesn't matter how much you hate your parents. I feel like there's always that, even though it's an adoptive father, technically, there's always that connection. She grew up, that was her dad, and then, it was
That
just
sadness I sense from you, daughter.
yeah. Oh my God, my heart broke in that scene. So it was well orchestrated, but I got to give kudos to Saldana, Josh Brolin,
and the really cool thing is
Chris
that
Pratt.
it involves you so much. You're so indulged in this thing that the guy just used the Infinity Stone, and there's no way that he's going to let his daughter get killed.
Yeah.
And so,
But also, you don't know why yet. You don't know why. That
yet,
was
but
also the
you get
interesting
that
part.
feeling, but you don't see the bubbles coming. Funny sentence, but you don't. You're like, she's just going to shoot her, and you expect her to die, but then you realize, oh crap, he has the reality stone. And it's a huge credit to the scene because it involves you so much in the emotional turmoil of the characters
That you don't think outside the box.
You don't think outside and be like, of course Thanos won't let this happen.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And even in a second and third round, when I've seen it, I'm still so invested into, what exactly is going on that I'm sort of ignoring. And I've seen this twice, and I've watched some clips online, bootleg clips.
Same, yeah.
So I've seen it. It was technically 3 times, but I'm still like in that scene. I'm like, and I was still freaking out. And I'm, the second time I saw it with my old man, and I was like looking at him. I was like,
Yeah.
are you feeling
I
this?
did that too
Are you
with
feeling
my
this
mum.
with
Yeah.
me? So they do that. They go that way. Thanos takes Gamora, and then sort of toys with Gamora on a ship.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he's there, and I'm guessing his sort of throne room. I don't know if he controls the ship
His
from there.
floating chair room.
Yeah, and then she's like, I hated this room. I hated everything I hated about myself came from you.
I hate you.
And then you see that Thanos has Nebula, and that she tried sneaking on, almost killed him, and he's been torturing her.
Yeah.
And you see, you sort of recall at the end of Guardians 2 that they made up Nebula and Gamora. They accepted each other's differences and made up.
Yeah.
And that whole scene where you then realize she knows where the Soul Stone is.
Yeah.
I made some predictions. I thought the Soul Stone was on Wakanda. I thought the vibranium was originating from the Soul Stone, then realized that doesn't actually make sense. But yeah, so we learn that she knows where the Soul Stone is, and that whole scene where Thanos is like, oh, I didn't teach you to lie, that's why you're so bad at it.
That was like, damn, he's so confident.
He is, and he knows.
He knows that as a warrior, he is better than anyone else out there.
And he doesn't know this cock. He doesn't know. He's not doing a cock. He's not being a cocky. I can't say cockily. He's not being cocky about it.
Yeah.
But he knows that his advantages is in his skill and his skill set. He doesn't need to overthrow. He's just going to use it.
Yeah. And just another thing, like Thanos is massive. Like he is.
Oh yeah.
But the one scene that really got, like he brings her like a. For him, it's a cup of soup. For her, it's a bowl.
Yeah, and he holds it with like 2 hands.
And she's grabbing it with
looks
her
like
hand.
how you drink
Like
like
little,
tea,
yeah,
like little Japanese tea.
Yeah.
That's how he's holding it.
And he gives it to her, and she's got
Gamora's holding like a bowl of noodles.
Yeah. She's got like a bowl in her hand, and I was just like, yeah, it's a subtle way of showing how massive he is.
And it reminds you, that Hulk scene as well earlier.
Yeah.
And it's he's the same size as Hulk, but he's more powerful than the Hulk.
And the other scene, it's not too far off it, is she's like crying, Gamora, because of Nebula and whatnot, and it's a shot of her, and she's slightly hunched over, her shoulders and her head's down, but he's right behind her.
Yeah.
And it's just the massive comparative size. It's
Absolutely.
just like God, he's everything. He has the physical presence, he has just the confidence, and he has the bloody Infinity Stones.
We'll get into Thanos a bit later because I want to talk a little bit about his manipulation of people's emotions, which I think is done so well. So he finds out, Gamora tells him with stoners. I think, just after this, the Red Skull is back.
Is this all one scene?
Pretty much. There's something in
no
between
jump
it.
cut to something
I
else?
think there's maybe something, but it's
Maybe
not
we'll
written.
find the thing, yeah.
So Thanos and Gamora tread of Vormir, which is where the stone was.
Yeah.
And we learned that, so a lot of people didn't get it at first. I was impressed because I know, so for those who don't remember, at the end of Captain America: The First Avenger, the Tesseract is powering the Hydra weapons.
Yes.
We now know, obviously, the Tesseract is teleports people.
Yeah.
And at the end of that First Avenger, Red Skull is holding it, and he shoots up into the sky. He obviously got teleported to Vormir. He talks about someone, and we don't really know who this is yet. Someone who's obviously kind of involved with the stones, sort of forced them into this role of looking after the Soul Stone, and also if anyone comes around to get it, he's in charge. First of all, I thought it was a great throwback. The same way I really enjoyed William Hurt's General Ross in Civil War. Utilizing, and I credit to the Russos because I talked about this in interviews, that the universe is so big, instead of confusing audience by reintroducing old characters, just confuse them by introducing old characters. So instead of introducing unknowns to the universe, just bring back some old guy that you don't remember from 10 years ago. But no, they said about the same with Ross, and I think this is great with Red Skull, is by it shows you as well, even if they didn't know 8 years ago that this character would come back or whatever, it really makes you question how well did Kevin Feige
plan
everything involved. It's so subtle.
Did he have just like a vision from the future, and that's just like this is how it is?
He's really Doctor Strange, and he's looking at all the possibilities, and he's just like,
this will make the most money.
Yeah. In 10 days, yes. But no, and little things like that, and that scene I think is up there with one of my favorites from the film, where Red Skull says it comes at a cost. Red Skull has got some version of the super soldier serum, so he's agile, and I don't know whether or not as a Stonekeeper he's been given more power, but he said he's lived a lifetime. So he could have been there in human time from the early, like that 70 years.
It makes sense for me if it's just human time, like he's just been there 70 years.
So like that's a long time.
But he implies that he's led others to this.
Absolutely, so that makes me question.
Has there been like a bunch of people in the past 70 years that have just been looking for the stone?
But I guess time is relative. But I think there's obviously I think it's less than I'm thinking. It's more than 70 years, but like less than like 200 years. So it's within that amount of time, like 100 years maybe as he's been there. So like a whole human lifetime. And I thought that was interesting. So he's got this perspective. He said, I've held a stone in my hand before. But that scene where he says, you have to make...
He seems so done with it, doesn't he? Not done with it, but he's just like... remember Red Skull from the first one? He's like an egomaniac, and he's like...
Cut off one head, too much shall take his place. It's that very... I don't know what accent that was.
South African. Cut off one head.
It's an Arnie South African. But no, so exactly. It was very power hungry, but I think it's a bit what General Ross said when he came back. It's perspective. What so many years in the military didn't teach me is perspective. What so many years as a part of Hydra was perspective. There's more to the universe. And then he says you need to make a sacrifice. And then
Gamora does her thing where she's like...
Gamora starts laughing. And I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't love anyone.
How can he love anyone?
And then it's all on Gamora, and she talks about, I imagine this moment because you love no one. The universe has judged you. The universe has judged you. And then he turns around, he's crying, and he's like, really, tears? And I thought what Gamora's thinking. He's sad because he won't be able to get the Soul Stone.
Now, for me, it clicked there. It clicked when he turned around and tears. I'm like, oh no.
I had double thought. I did that thought, and then I was like, oh shit. And then again, Zoe Saldana's acting from smiling, and then Red Skull. You don't see Red Skull. You just hear him say, he's like, the tears are not for him.
Yeah.
And you see Gamora go, shit. And then she tries to fight back again with that little knife thing, which we're introduced.
She's gonna stab herself. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mention it earlier, but there's the flashback you see of Gamora on her planets, and
that's the thing that we were missing.
Yes, that was what I was missing. And he talks about balance, and he uses this double-edged blade.
Yeah.
And he puts it on his finger, and he balances both sides.
Yeah.
And that, the simplification of him his goal.
Of his goal, you know.
For that, it's that manipulation that he does by simplifying his goal. He manipulates Gamora as a young child, almost. You know.
Yeah.
By simplifying, we need balance. Balance.
I don't want to say the word manipulate because, like, really, his goal makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like he's not. I mean,
it does, as long as he doesn't kill me.
Well, if you take out emotions, practically, his goal makes a lot of sense.
Which it doesn't mean we agree with it.
It doesn't make it right or wrong.
Yeah, it does make.
But it makes sense, and I don't think it's that thing is about manipulating, but it's just it's so true that children are so impressionable that it's like no wonder Gamora for at least a very long time believed in Thanos' vision, you know, and I mean obviously we'll go into more about Thanos as the individual character later, but you know you can't. It's almost like how I viewed.
They're gonna say it's almost how I manipulate my daughter, my sisters, my daughters.
It's almost like
Ultron
and Tony's rationale around making Ultron and stuff like that when characters play with things that are just really massive and sensitive.
They don't understand.
Or they're just so all-encompassing that but they're not, and it's like the Civil War debate. It's not really wrong. It's your personal inflictions and stuff that make your view on it, whether it's right or wrong.
Your preferences and all sorts,
and how you view something.
How Tony went for one side of the Accords because of his experience. Yeah. He created Obadiah Stane. He created Whiplash. He created Ultron. He was the reason for a lot of the villains in his universe. Yeah. You know, Mandarin. You know whoever that guy was called.
Ultron. Vision said it. You know, ever since Mr. Stark revealed himself a few years ago, you know, more heroes have shown themselves, and more villains have popped up.
You know, it invites conflict.
Yeah. It invites challenge, and challenge invites conflict, and conflict breeds
catastrophe. Yeah, and that's very accurate in this sense. And that whole Gamora, and then obviously does that. And he is sad. I genuinely feel he is sad. He is. And he just throws her. And I was...
Do you know what got me?
What?
Is that she knew she was going to die. She was happy to kill us, but she did not want Thanos to get the stone. Because she was going to stab herself, but then she's fighting him when she's about to throw him off
Absolutely, the cliff. Yeah. So she knew her end was coming.
Yeah.
But if she died and he got the stone because of her...
Yeah.
She couldn't have that. Exactly.
Yeah. So she tried to fight him.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, that's cool.
That is deep. It's deep because she knows what he can do with the stone.
Yeah.
And at this point, he has 3 already. He has
reality, power, and space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By getting the Soul Stone, that's 4.
It's 4. And it's the one that we as the viewers thought, that's the one he's never going to get.
Exactly. And also, as the viewer, I did not expect that halfway through this film he would have 4 stones. No. I was shitting myself. Literally shitting myself. I had to leave. No. I was like, oh my God.
This guy's for real.
Yeah. But then she throws down, and then he sort of wakes up in this puddle, which was a very cool visual about
that was an awesome visual.
Shot it from the top, and he was, you weren't really sure where he was.
Yeah, it was like a semi-deep lake.
He was in a puddle. Yeah. And he just sat up, and then he had the stone. And, yeah, and that was such an interesting thing. Then you see Nebula escapes captivity. Yep. She just... her eye pops out, and the Chitauri was like, well, what's going on here? And then she just kills him. And what I like, she called the Guardians. I didn't realize this till my second run, but she rung. She's like, hello, Mantis. she talked to Mantis, hit the Guardians up.
Meet me at Titan.
And then... so, actually, no, this was before that. Sorry, it's in the wrong place on this. But Stark and Parker... So Tony and Spider-Man and the Cape were all on the ship. They were all just there, and then Ebony Moore's
torturing Doctor Strange
with those needles. Which, by the way, great acting from Benedict Cumberbatch. Being tortured is, I think, a difficult thing to portray if you've never been tortured before. Also, kudos to Daniel Craig in Casino Royale when his balls are getting whipped.
That was good.
That's another great scene where you're getting tortured, and I feel like I would never stand that. And then the jokes again. Parker has 2 jokes in here, but they both make sense. I like his you can't be a neighborhood Spider-Man if there's no neighborhood. I was like, that makes sense. And then he was like, that doesn't make sense. I was like, no, it does. But it was funny because he thought it didn't make sense. Yeah. And then again, the aliens idea.
What I really liked was a little touch of when Stark, why do we call him Stark now? Iron Man was like, not lecturing, but he was like, Spider-Man, what are you doing here? I was sent you back. You was only supposed to, and like the cape was mimicking his. It was like that's straight out of Aladdin. That's
it's
like,
exactly. That cape is like the carpet.
And I'm like, I love
also
it.
What I thought, depending on how you watch it, he glossed over it, but he said this is a one-way trip. Yeah. And it made me think back to just earlier when Pepper that Friday and Pepper, that connection was going, and Pepper was like, "You come back here right now." Yeah. You selfish. I don't know if it's selfishness, but he's so.
He's like it's like in the first movie, Captain America's like, you never want to let guys come
out. I'll just cut the wire.
Yeah. Obviously there's a cool little subplot in the first Avengers film when he flew a nuke through the portal. Yeah. But it's like it's become part of his character. Yeah, he's a dick, and he's a selfish.
And I guess the 2 follow-up villains for his Iron Man 3 and Ultron were his fault.
Yeah. But yet again, even when he makes them, are born of good places. You know? I mean, Ultron was a bad mistake. That was born of wanting to
protect the world,
and not have the Avengers spending lifetimes just fighting bad guys.
Absolutely.
And I mean,
isn't that why we fight so we can end the fight and go home?
Yeah, and but like it's like the 3rd time now he's like made the quote unquote sacrifice play, and
Absolutely.
It's like these subtle things that make his character more than we like to.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, it's that evolution of the character where there are elements of the character that stay true, but little things over these films eventually they change the character in a certain way. Also, just want to point out, we're quoting the Marvel Universe like we're quoting Shakespeare. Yeah. The amount of quotes we have quoted is slightly scary, but also really nerdy and amusing. So they saved Doctor Strange by doing the alien technique.
Yep.
Speaking
I thought was pretty neat.
I thought it was pretty neat. Grapefruit technique. Alien technique. I had this weird thought when I said that. But yeah, but then you also get to understand, and this is where that when Doctor Strange says, if I had to choose between Parker, you, or the stone, I'm choosing the stone. Yeah. That scene as well. That choice.
That's like probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole film. It was just like, it had Civil War vibes.
But also, it had Doctor Strange, the way Stephen Strange and Doctor Strange, the way he evolved in just that film. And also, behind the scene, like we said before, the time between each film, between the releases of the film, is the time that's taken place. And you could see between the end of 2016 and the beginning of this film, that over that time, he's really understood what it means to be a Sorcerer Supreme, to be a protector of the stone. Because he would now lay down his life to protect the stone,
and to let other people die for the stone.
Absolutely, and at the beginning of Doctor Strange, and I think that had a lot to do with the Ancient One's death in Doctor Strange, is that he was like, nah, I'm selfish. I want to fix my hands. Yep. And again, it's those little things that evolves the character over time. And as an audience member, you understand that. You're not like, well, why does he now put down his life for the stone when in Doctor Strange you understand that, because as a human being, that is how you evolve as a person. Yep. You use your experiences and your past,
and you grow from it.
Exactly. And I think that's so smart to not having to constantly point that out to the audience, like he's evolved. It's just one line and how he took.
They don't know it's going to be like 3 years ago I would have done this, but now I'll do this.
Absolutely. Exactly.
So they do the aliens thing, which I like. And it was a cool way to reveal that the Spidey,
Oh yeah, the I don't know what they are. Grappling hooks.
They're like spider legs.
They are. And also another introduction of a bit of Tony's tech, which is I'm guessing Frozone. He murdered Frozone and stole his Frozone powers. I don't know what that is. freeze
stuff.
things. And also I want to point out there's a weapon Tony Stark has, and he uses it in every film. It's this little red laser, and he used it again to break into the donut. I love it. But so and it's the little things like that, interesting moments. Because it's out of order. Following this, the Guardians, break into the ship. Yeah. Because they crash land onto Titan.
So this is after he's got the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
And she's like, meet us on Titan. Then it cuts to it's Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and they're on Titan.
And they've crashed on Titan. Also, love. It's the little moments. That whole scene as well was hilarious. You know, like Parker's like, hey, if an alien infests me with eggs and I eat one of you, I'm sorry. Stark's like, not another cultural reference. He's like, what I'm saying, something's coming. Yeah. A hint to the Spidey sense, which we've seen with the hairs on his arm. I love that. And then you just have Star-Lord, Drax, and Mantis. Yeah. The whole scene is first of all, it's Parker's comedy, it's Quill's comedy, Drax's comedy, and Stark's comedy, and it all filters so well. You know, the whole Parker's on the ground. He's like, whoa, don't put your eggs in me, don't put your eggs. And it's Mantis, and then they all are taking each other, and then you've got Drax, you got Stark on top of Drax. The cape even got involved. Yeah. Mantis is like,
I like that. Get off me, you cape of death.
Yeah. What I like actually is, and there's a wide shot, and Mantis is like, I think it's spider webs, and she's just like bouncing around in the corner. But then, and then that whole scene, Star-Lord's got Parker. Stark.
Iron Man's got Drax.
And then, I love it, he's just like, yeah, go ahead, you shoot my guy, I shoot yours. And Drax's like, I take it. And then
he turns his hammer into a cannon.
It's like a cannon. And then Strain's like, no, you really can't take it. Yeah. And then, oh, I love it.
Mantis is like, you can't take it. And Doctor Strange's like, yeah, you really can't take it.
And then Star-Lord's like, where is Gamora?
Yeah, and I was like, I'll do you one better.
Who's Gamora? And Drax, I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
That was one of the biggest laughs in our cinema.
I think it was. And it was just so smart. And then following that, Strange...
He's like, whom do you serve? And Star-Lord's like, what am I supposed to say? Jesus?
Again, that whole scene. And then, like, who are you guys? And then, Stark's like, you're from Earth.
We're the Avengers, man.
And Stark's like, you're from Earth. He's like, no, I'm from Missouri. Yeah. That's on Earth. And then, we're the Avengers. And then again, ties back into Thor. When the only ones Thor told us about. You know Thor?
There's like a couple of, what I liked was just, there was like a couple of like name calling moments. Like
references.
No, just name calling moments. Like childish name calling. Like, he's like, I'm from Missouri. And like, Stark's like, that's on Earth, dipshit.
Yeah.
And like, and later on, he's like, the 50% of me that's human, the 50% of me that's stupid.
Yeah, it's 100% you guys.
And they're like childish insults, and I'm like, I love it.
That Stark and Quill. They have, it's really well written, I think, in that sense. But that whole scene is great.
They find out obviously that, and I also love that. You know who Thor is? Yeah, tall guy, not very good.
Yeah. Where is he now? And then they go back to Thor. Yeah. Where Thor is. What does this say? Does this say anything about it? No, it's all out of order. Yeah, so Thor...
well, maybe that's the order, and we're just out of order.
No, because then where's Thor? And they go back. And they show you how to... Yeah, so they show you how to... They relight the star. Yeah. They conjure up a new weapon, which can defeat Thanos. Yeah, it can defeat...
sums up the sequence. It's all about visual and stuff, but at the...
Yeah, they defeat Thanos. They conjured up a weapon, which is part Groot, part whatever that thing is.
Yeah, it's like some steel.
Really, it's obviously gold melted by the sun. So White Rabbit. So they conjure up this weapon, and then back on Earth. This is so out of order now. I'm gonna rush to the rest of this. They're on Wakanda. Rogers reunites with Bucky. Shuri says some shit that pretty much talks shit to Banner. Was like, why didn't you do this? Yeah. They're trying to figure out how to get the stone out of Vision, so Vision can still be Vision, and then destroy the stone.
Yeah, and then they get attacked.
Pretty much, they get attacked. It's really well done. I like the keeping M'Baku on the Djibouti side and the rest of the Wakandans. You got Falcon, War Machine, putting their differences aside because pretty much it was Falcon's fault. Yeah. War Machine, putting things aside. Yeah. Also, there's a great joke where Hulk's like, Randall's like, should I bow?
Yeah.
and
And War Machine's like, yeah.
he's a king. And then he does it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they all do it.
And then just they get attacked.
Yeah.
By
Cat gets some new shields.
gets a new shield. By Proxima, the big guy. So yeah, the three that aren't dead.
Yeah. But also they make you think that the one that attacks Vision initially is dead.
Yeah.
Bit of play on play.
Anyways, the next, at least in this aspect of the film, for the next half an hour, it's just a big ass battle.
Pretty much. So
they're holding an army off of these weird creatures with 4 arms.
Yeah.
You've seen them in the trailers. It's those creatures. Whilst they attack Wakanda, and they're trying to hold them off until they can get the stone out of Vision's head.
Yeah, and destroy it, and hopefully that means that they'll piss off again.
Halfway through the fight, Thor, Groot, and Rocket turn up.
Yep, back from their planet. Yep.
And so that's that team now. So we've essentially got 2 groups of people instead of 3.
Yep. So you got Thor, Groot, Rocket, and you got the Earth Avengers.
Yep. And they do a big fight, and for most of the rest of the film, that's just what they do.
Yeah.
And for the third act, most of what happens, or plot-wise, the important stuff happens on Titan.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's where Doctor Strange, Iron Man,
the Guardians,
half the Guardians, Spider-Man are. And so Thanos turns up on Titan after he kills Gamora and gets the Soul Stone.
Before that, Strange goes through some possibilities.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Strange goes through.
It's another little sequence of interaction.
Yeah, it's
really
yeah.
Cool.
So they're like, well, I'll do the plan.
Yeah, your plan sucks.
Yeah. Strange, which we've seen before, Strange goes through the different possibilities, and I was surprised he said 1.
Yeah.
He said like 4 million.
Yeah, 14 million, 604 possibilities.
And they win 1.
Yeah.
The question is, obviously for later, is did they achieve that one?
Did they achieve that one? Yeah.
So yeah, that happens. Thanos goes to Titan because that's where obviously Ebony Maw was going to meet Thanos there with the gem. Thanos is like, well, I guess you killed him because you're sitting here.
You still have the gem.
They have a bit of back and forth. Then he says,
They attack.
They do.
Yeah. And my God, it is the best battle in the entire movie.
Yeah, the Thanos versus
all of them. And
Spider-Man,
Thanos
Strange.
versus,
Yeah.
It's Thanos versus the group, then it's Thanos versus Strange, and then it's Thanos versus Iron Man. But that whole I have to say, that is my favorite sequence in the entire film. What
I like from the whole sequence is my favorite. My favorite bit is once they had him down. Once they had him holding him back. So you had Drax was on a leg. Strange,
You have Drax on the leg. You have
initially Spider-Man and Strange on the opposite hand that doesn't have the gauntlet, and you had Tony trying to pull
it off, and then you had
Mantis on the head
trying to lull him into sleep like she does, and then Quill's in front.
Quill's doing nothing.
Shit, like I thought you'd be hard to catch.
And that it was heartbreaking as well because again we knew Gamora.
Was dead.
Yeah, yet Peter not knowing.
Yeah.
And Nebula had rocked up by then.
Yeah.
I think she just assumed but hadn't said anything yet. Yeah. And that interaction, I think, is my favorite between Thanos and Star-Lord because they just only briefly they've already established each other.
Yeah.
And then where's Gamora?
Because Thanos is still slightly
do you know what was heartbreaking? Thanos was like, my Gamora.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. Yeah. So Thanos is Mantis, despite Mantis being able to make a planet go to sleep.
Yeah.
Again, it shows you the power.
Because doesn't Thanos have telekinesis powers?
I don't know what he has exactly.
I've read comments on YouTube and stuff.
But the thing about Thanos is what I thought was interesting was just the fact that Thanos is more powerful than Ego. Yeah. Essentially, I don't know whether or not Mantis was having problems. The atmosphere, who knows? There could be technical problems. But Thanos wasn't
4 out of 5.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Yeah, but Thanos wasn't in the full sleep. Yeah. He was still conscious, and whether or not that was because that was a part of the plan, so they could ask where Gamora was.
Yeah.
But also, he's still so strong that it still took Parker and Stark
like 2 minutes to get the gauntlet off.
And then fucking Peter,
Quill.
Quill was like, "Where's Gamora?" And then my Gamora.
Like he's feeling grief, sorrow, and then
what does this monster have to mourn?
Yeah, and then Nebula's like, Gamora.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then freaking.
I love Quill's like, "Tell me you didn't do it.
You bastard!
I had to."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "No, you didn't."
And he just grabs his gun and freaking beats the shit.
Smacks him in the head.
But I like how everyone saw what was coming.
Yeah.
You know, like Stark's like, we've almost got this off.
Yeah.
Don't do it, you know?
Exactly. And within a few... That shows you, again, the ability for these heroes to understand each other within a small amount of time. Stark got that Quill was just gonna don't engage, Quill. We've almost got this off. And then he ruins it.
He wakes up.
Yeah, wakes up. Mantis goes flying. Spider-Man goes... And I like little things like that. Spider-Man was pulling off the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And instead of going to fight Thanos, Mantis goes flying. He's like, oh God, I've got to go grab Mantis. I don't want her to die. Thanos puts the glove back on. One of my favorite scenes, I think, was the fact that he was pulling... Was that a moon? I think it was a moon.
Because, like, battle ensues, and then he uses the Power Stone to... He just takes out... what was it? Mantis, Drax, and Star-Lord. He just takes them out. They just drop to the ground. And then he throws a moon at...
Iron Man.
At Iron Man, and then it cuts back to the Wakanda battle. But we've already explained it. So we come back and Spider-Man is like saving everyone. They're like they're flown into the air, and he's using his webbing.
The gravitational pull's been misadjusted, and you get a bit of Strange versus Thanos. You get a bit of that.
Thanos versus
he goes to grab,
and this is my
Eye of Agamotto.
Favorite sequence in the entire film, and it's a lot to do with my favorite parts of the entire film. Is when Thanos has character interactions with one character.
His one-on-ones.
So I like, and it doesn't have to be a fight. It can be sharing words. So I like the interaction between Thanos and Doctor Strange when he first arrives on Titan. I like his interaction with, obviously, him and Stark, him and Gamora, him and Scarlet Witch at the end of the film.
Him and Thor. I want to get back to that Scarlet Witch in a minute.
But Doctor Strange versus Thanos, they fight, and really cool visuals, some of it.
It's absolutely.
Really, and you get to see, and what I really like is that you do throughout the film get to see all the stones used in a battle kind of scenario.
And you get to see how they work and that. And
not just the Power Stone, which is obviously the fighting one, I suppose.
Yeah.
But anyways, he has Doctor Strange, and then he grabs the eye, and you're like,
Eye of Agamotto.
Damn it, he got another one. And then
it was a fake out.
It's a fake out. So he throws him away. He throws Doctor Strange away.
And Stark
comes down. I like that line. And says, "If you throw another moon at me, I'm gonna lose."
Yeah. Why did the first time not? Why did you not lose it the first time? But yeah, they have a bet. And what I like, because I didn't quite understand it. There was moments. There's my least favorite moment of Age of Ultron was how Scarlet Witch's manipulation of the characters, aside from Rogers and Romanoff, but the one for Thor and Stark were the ones that confused me the most. Yeah. Now I understand how Ragnarok impact what that meant for Ragnarok. I understand that one, but I still didn't quite understand Stark's one until later. And he said earlier, "Oh, he's been inside my head." I don't know how, but for whatever reason, when Stark went into the atmosphere in the first Avengers,
is this your take on it?
Yeah, I think he got. I don't know how, but he was having nightmares, and I think what he feared was not an event.
It was PTSD.
Yeah, it's his post-traumatic stress disorder. I think what he feared was that invasion again. So when he says Thanos was inside my head, it was Thanos's impact.
And that's because that's why he made Ultron. You know, because he was
afraid.
Made the Vision, and she's like, we need something stronger. We need something more. Yeah. So he made Ultron, and we all know how that turned out. But he's been in his head for like the past 6 years.
And it's not Thanos going hello. Yeah. It was that idea of another invasion.
Man, something was coming.
Yeah, he did.
And apart from Thor, maybe he heard a bit of a clue in, you know, that someone was clicking.
Absolutely, yeah.
Iron Man was the only one that really knew that shit, something's coming, and in a weird sort of way, kind of adds to the Accords.
A little bit,
because it's like we all need to be a cohesive unit to face this thing that comes. But so, you know, he's been in my head for 6 years, and anyway.
What I like, but then I guess I'm guessing based because Schmidt, Red Skull, had the Soul Stone, so he knew Thanos and Gamora when they came to him, and now Thanos knows Stark. Yeah. I'm guessing because he's got the Soul Stone. Somehow that how it because he says, "I know who you are." Yeah. You know, and that dialogue
that was actually probably my most. And I mean, this is probably part because I'm just like an Iron Man fanboy, but
partly because you are Iron Man.
Yeah.
And you're in the downtime.
It was the most. It was like one person just. Like, I mean, obviously he probably respects a lot of people because they find him. Absolutely. But he's like Stark, and he's like, you know me, and he's like, you're not the only one cursed with knowledge. And anyway, and then they fight, and then
I hope they remember you.
But then they fight, and then Thanos stabs Iron Man, and you're like, holy shit, this is it. They finally killed off a big one. It's it. And I don't. And if if you tell me that you saw it as a fake out death, I won't believe you. I think almost everyone saw it was like, because we all came in expecting the big person to die, so we're like, damn, this is it. So he's stabbed and he's holding his head and he's just looking at him and is like, I respect you, Stark. And half of humanity will still exist right now. I have them like, wow, that's just it humanizes Thanos to such a degree because he's yet again, it kind of does what I said before with his karate moves on the Hulk, is that he's not just this big ruthless guy that has one focus. He's capable of empathy with Gamora. He's capable of respect with Stark.
Yeah, exactly. It's a foe. There was this foe, and he admired, I guess, what Stark was trying to do.
Yeah, because Stark's just a human.
And I don't know whether or not he also, I think, assumed that Stark was one of the reasons why they were there.
Yeah.
I think he thought Stark had something to do with, we'll bring the gem to him. You know what I mean? Like I think
I also think that he respects Stark in the sense that he's a warrior at heart, and that for a human to become someone to go toe to toe with him, you know, and it's just like, as I said before, he's empathy with Gamora, you know, respect with Stark, you know, those two things, and empathy with Scarlet Witch later on,
and also I don't know if it's as a dad he likes Star-Lord.
Yeah.
When he's like, I like this one. You know, and there's like, little things, It's
just like, this is just just a determined guy who believes what he's doing is right.
At times, he's not a villain. Those elements make him not a villain in the sense that it's not like, I'll get you in your little doll. You know, it's not Wicked Witch of the West villainy, you know, like, oh, my home is gone. I will kill you all. You know, it's a different form of being a villain, and it's that humanizing villain. It's that scary thing of real life, is that a villain in real life, a criminal in real life, is not someone who's like, I'm going to kill everyone in my sights. It's
just
someone,
let me twiddle my mustache.
Yeah, exactly. It's someone who truly believes what they're doing is right.
It's right. And my God, I have to say, and yet again, because I'm part Iron Man fanboy, that's my favorite sequence in the entire film. The Titan thing, but my favorite part, Titan's my favorite.
That he was going to die.
But my favorite sequence was the interactions between Thanos and Doctor Strange right at the beginning of the Titan sequence, and they fight, and then Thanos and Iron Man, because it brings Thanos down off this pedestal that we give him of he's more than we are, but he's everything that we are. He's empathy, he's respect, but he's just a Titan, you know, and he has the stones.
And that following.
Anyways, Iron Man
I'm
stabbed,
speechless again.
and you know, and he's got the gauntlet and he's pointing at Iron Man, and the 4 stones are glowing, and you're like, damn, it's just gonna get blown up, and then Doctor Strange is like, wait,
I'm going back on my word.
Yeah, I will give you the stone if you spare Stark's life.
And again, this goes back to when Strange said, there's one way we win. Yeah. Is this a part of that way? Yeah, was it Quill's idea? Yeah. And that's the question, you know?
I think it's that one way in either two aspects. Thanos had to do what he does later on in the film, or maybe I think it's a little bit of both. Iron Man has to survive because he's integral to the defeating of Thanos later on.
Yeah, I think it's a mix. Yeah.
And I think it's more B than A. Iron Man being important because he could have killed Iron Man and he still probably would have gotten the stone. Yeah. You know? So I think Iron Man, he saved Iron Man. Thanos would have gotten the stone anyway because he won 14 million times.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so he would have gotten the stone, but he had to save Iron Man for some reason. And I think that's because Iron Man's importance in later on in the future. Yeah. And this is heading into Avengers 4 spoiler territory, and I won't ruin it too much, but there has been...
Have you seen it?
No. There's like set photos of Ant-Man and Iron Man in modern day getup back in New York.
And from Thor, 2012.
Yeah, with Thor and Captain America in 2012 getup. Yes, wearing those uniforms. So obviously Ant-Man and Iron Man travel back in time. So
whether it's got pin particles or whatever it is,
so
there's and it is true, you know, that last bit with you know, and what I thought was interesting, Stark had the same sort of feeling that Gamora did, self-sacrifice. Yes. He asked Strange, "Why did you do that?
Why did you do it?"
Yeah.
He actually looked devastated.
Exactly.
When the stone was floating towards Thanos, he was just like,
he knew that it was a one-way trip.
Yeah.
Whether it means that he couldn't breathe on Titan, or whether or not he knew that by facing Thanos,
he was just gonna die.
He was, and that's where that line came in as well. Like all of that for a drop of blood. You know, when Thanos says that to Stark, and again, it was that thing of the passing over the gem, and it was also I thought it was kind of interesting as well. At the same time, you had on Wakanda, Vision. They were almost ready, and Vision's fighting, and they almost got Vision, and Cap was like, "Go, Vision, go." Wow. And Vision's like, we don't trade lives. Yeah. It's the same thing with Strange. Has the same sort of idea of we don't trade lives.
There's like two interpersonal relationships, like almost with every stone.
Yeah.
Like there's the Soul Stone. It's Thanos and Gamora. The Reality Stone, you could say it's almost Gamora and Quill because they were like the big emotive thing that tied it to getting that stone. The Tesseract, Thor and Loki.
Yeah.
What's the other one that I'm thinking? The Vision Stone. That's Vision and
the Mind Stone.
And Vision and Scarlet Witch. And Mind Stone is Doctor Strange and Iron Man.
Time Stone.
And it's a really good story, almost storytelling. And this goes beyond just being inside the film and the context of the film, but they've tied two characters to each stone and an interpersonal relationship, no matter if it varies from just being part-time colleagues like Strange and Stark to father and daughter like Gamora and Thanos to lovers like Vision and there's a relationship that ties to the stone and it makes the quest for that stone and in turn the people who resist it and the person who seeks it, it makes that almost even more engaging. Absolutely.
And it kind of it adds to what Red Skull was saying about the sacrifice. These stones are not just gems, they are almost their life in a way that they sort of reflect life. It's its own being in a weird sort of way, and how it doesn't have a conscience, it doesn't talk, but maybe it's got some sort of soul within it.
That's the things that form the universe.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and it's marvelous writing. I have to say, it is marvelous writing.
Absolutely, it is marvelous
writing. Very.
But again, and then
he gets the stone.
He gets stone and he teleports. And then Quill's line of
did we just lose?
Yes, and I was like, yes, you
You
did.
did just lose.
And whose fault is that? You, Quill. Dick. You smacked him in the head. And we're back on Wakanda.
Yeah.
And
battle's wrapping up.
You could kind of tell that there was a cool fight between Okoye, Scarlett Johansson, Okoye, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and Prox Midnight. I thought it was cool. Love a bit of girl power.
Scarlet Witch kills Midnight.
And Hulk. Banner.
Banner in the Hulkbuster suit.
Yes, which we forgot to mention because he was not. For some reason, Hulk doesn't want to come out. You know, it's like a rat and some cheese. But
Hulk defeats. Hulk kills the big Hulkering guy.
Yeah.
And
Obsidian.
And the other guy that was the fake out death.
Yeah.
He waits until they're distracted and he sneaks behind, but they don't get the stone out of Vision.
No, they don't.
Yeah. And so because Wanda has to go into the field, so they draw her out, and so he attacks. Yeah. And they don't get the stone out. So Vision and the other guy start fighting.
Glave, I think his name's.
Anyways, Vision kills him.
Yeah.
And then, but the stone's still in Vision head, and then you think, oh, good, they won. Thor's off destroying the mother.
Yeah, he's just using lightning.
He's just lightning and destroying it. And
you got the lightning, light the bastards up.
Yeah, and all the mini bosses, but still powerful guys are dead, and you're like, and then Thanos appears.
He does. He just appears, and what we've had that before. I mentioned that we don't trade lives.
Yeah.
Obviously, the stone. What I thought was interesting is Vision knew. He said he's coming. He said to Scarlet Witch, "I feel him. He's coming."
Yeah.
And then the stone tells him he's coming, and then Thanos appears, and again, I love. So Banner was like, "That's him."
That's him. Yeah.
And Rogers is like squadron up. He's all like, let's do it. And then Thanos was swatting away flies.
Yeah, Vision's like, we're out of time.
Oh, that was the other thing that broke my heart. Is the way Vision conveyed to Maximoff.
It shouldn't have to be.
It shouldn't be you, but it is.
It shouldn't be you, but it is.
We're out of time.
Yeah.
Also, it was quite cool just seeing Thanos sort of lightly used all the stones.
Yeah.
He was
he used a couple. He used the blue one on War Machine and stuff like that. But and he used it on all of them.
He's on, yeah. So he put Hulk.
But he was just. It goes to show his power and how few can actually stand up to him.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Like, even when someone did stand up, like Doctor Strange and Iron Man, it wasn't very long. You know, it was like I think the Iron Man Thanos battle was like 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
And the Thanos Doctor Strange one was like a minute.
But like they were both on the back foot.
Yeah.
They were never dominating the
They were
fight.
never dominating the fight.
And even when everyone was on Thanos with Spider-Man and all them, when they were holding him back, he felt like he was still in control.
Yeah.
And it's very scary.
And so like, and these guys, in the context of character power, they aren't as powerful as like Thor and Doctor Strange and Iron Man. Because Iron Man's got the weird nanotechnology, but so he just swats them away like flies.
He does.
You were and you know it's just like, my God, they really are hopeless against him.
But also, I love Steve Rogers' patriotic.
Yeah,
he's just like, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
What
I love. Well, not what I love, but what I always find amusing is that whenever characters take a hit and and this isn't just Avengers, it's most films, and it's usually action films, when people take hits and they just should not get up again.
Yeah.
You know? But like, Cap has, like, he's holding off, you know, using all the strength holding off Thanos' arm, and like Thanos like, holy shit, this guy's super strong. And then he brings his other fist.
Yeah.
Smacks him.
Again, Thanos is so big.
Yeah.
That Rogers can hold back the hand, and he's holding back the gauntlet hand.
And he's struggling, and it's just like,
Thanos like, well, you're pretty strong.
Yeah.
Right hook.
Yeah.
That
and he
was
just smacks him, and it's like, oh my God. It's like,
what I liked about this scene as well, and after he takes out Panther and Romanoff and Okoye and Banner and that, I forget how powerful Maximoff is. Yeah. And it reminds me about when she says she's still afraid of her power. And that's got to do with how Crossbones and Civil War, how she sent him up into the air, blow up, and obviously that's how the Accords happened. But she's still afraid of her power, yet she was holding Thanos back. She was doing like, one hand was trying to destroy the stone, which these are the most powerful things in the universe. Thanos has the other ones, and she's holding him back. Yes, her power.
She's struggling, and
her power,
he's getting closer, but she's still holding him back.
And that's because the power originates from the stones in this, obviously in this storyline. But that, again, and I said we'll come back to this, so we're back at it now. But I thought she killed him, that first time, and she was, and he was gone.
I mean, the interaction was just, oh my God, it was.
And then the "I love you" with the lips.
He's like, "I love you," and then he walks past. Thanos walks past her, and he's like, I know your pain more than anyone. And this is what got me. It's that toying with emotions that I think. What I thought was interesting is he calls everyone his children. Yes. So in Guardians, we saw in Guardians when he's talking to Ronan, he's like, "The only matter I do not take seriously, boy." Yeah. It's that, and then he's like, my daughter, and then he's like, oh my girl, da da da. And I can't tell if he was trying to sort of like relate to Scarlet. I don't know if he's trying to use Scarlet Witch. Yeah. Because he was like, I just think it was like, I think this is the thing where Thanos is as human as the rest of us, and he's just like, I know your pain. I understand. I did not wish for you to do this. Absolutely, yeah. But I know your pain. And then she was like, no, you don't. No, you don't. And he's like, I've lost more than you could ever think today, but now is not the time, wink, wink, to mourn. Yeah. This is no time at all. Yeah. And he uses the time stone. And he brings Vision back. But this is the thing. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier with Gamora and Quill, is that the emotions in the scene invest you so much that when you're out of it, you're like, well, of course he was going to use the time stone. Absolutely, yeah, yeah. No shit, he's got the time stone. And when I say time, wink, wink, I'm not going to lie. The first time that happened, the second time I knew when he said there is no time at all, I was like, I get it. He's going to use the time stone. The first time I was like, what do you mean there's no time? What do you mean it's not time to mourn? Yeah. And then he used the time stone. I'm like, oh, right, he's got the time stone. You're so invested in, like, you're not like, oh shit, he's going to use that outside of you. Like, of course he was. He has the time stone. Absolutely. Nothing's out of his reach now. Yeah, absolutely. And now, but it invests you so much in the character interaction and the emotions that you don't think of it. And that's just expert acting,
It is
expertly shot, and expertly written.
Absolutely, and it's
just
kudos to everyone who we've mentioned. I did the rundown of the Wikipedia at the beginning because I wanted to point out the people involved because these guys have just. There are things wrong with this film. That's a completely another day, and I don't think there's many of them. But the way you are able to merge so many actors, storylines, conventions in both filmmaking and
like they all got their due.
Exactly, but they all merge so well. It's like I don't know. There's no term I can think of that can describe it, and it's a first of its kind. But the acting is so good. It was, he brought back Vision.
Yep.
And kudos to Elizabeth Olsen. She's such a talented actress. It was that scream.
Yeah.
Just, no. She yelled no.
Yeah.
Thanos like, no, fuck off. Yeah. It whacks her away.
Anyway, he's holding Vision. And he's just, you're like, we lost. Yeah. Like, obviously, Peter Quill's like, did we lose before? And we're like, yeah.
You guys lost that battle.
Yeah.
But we haven't lost the war.
Yeah. But the thing is, when you come out of it, you're like, well, because he's got 4 stones and he faced... almost, apart from Thor, the strongest the Avengers have to offer. You're like, well, of course he's going to get the souls. Of course he's going to get the other stone. But you're like...
stone, yes.
But you still hold out hope.
Exactly.
You still hold out like, no, Captain America's there. He will not allow this
Even though that whole scene in the back of my head, I completely forgot about Thor.
Yeah.
I was like, Cap will save the day.
Yeah.
And then Thor rocks up. Thor throws his new hammer. I was like, no shit.
Yeah, but he's holding Vision, and I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just the way Vision's forehead crunched. But he got the stone, and my God, the guy's got massive fingers, by the way. And he just grabs the stone, but now there's just dent in Vision's forehead, and he just goes grey.
Yeah, and the fact that his eyes went, that was terrifying. It reminded me of Weeping Angels from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
When Vision falls down, and he puts the stone in him, and then there's this good wide shot, and you see the colours of the stones go through like the scars and the veins of Thanos' body. Thor throws his new hammer, and it pierced him. And I was like, oh my God, that weapon can't kill him. So who's going to win?
Yeah.
And then Thanos, it's the same death. So initially I was like, okay. So when Gamora kills him, I'm doing air quotes. When Gamora kills him before, he does this like, he does this noise. And he does the same thing with Thor. Yeah. So I was skeptical. And again, it's shooting in a way that you don't think outside the box.
Yeah.
And then Thor's like, you're going to pay for that.
I told you.
And you're talking about Heimdall from earlier. And then Thanos trying to say something. You should have gone for the head.
You should have gone for the head.
And then
it just comes out of nowhere.
And it just sort of it pans out and you see him click. And that's what they talked about in the trailers and that. Yeah. And once he gets the stones, he can destroy everything with a click of his fingers. And he does it. And this was what I've learnt now is that what you see is him in the Soul Stone. The Soul Stone, that is a place. That is the soul of young Gamora that he talks to. I thought that was the planet. I thought he had just killed everyone. And then he has a quick... And then, it's a humanizing thing. He says to Gamora, did you do it? And he's like, what did it cost? Everything. For him, for everyone else, it did cost
and I knew
everything.
that line was coming, because in a way it's cliche, but, it is kind of a cliche line. What did it cost? Everything. But in the context of the film and the character, you're like...
And a villain as well.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and the way in a villain, it works in the same way, everything. So then he talks to Gamora, and then it's cool. I like the cut. It just sort of cuts straight back.
Yeah.
What I thought was amazing was the way the gauntlet could not handle all that power.
It was just crunched.
And his arm is like scarred,
angled, and
And Thor's. I thought it was interesting that Thor was confused. I was like, oh, he's like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And then that look on Thanos' face has still struck me. It's sort of like, what did I do?
Yeah.
He teleports out of there. The hammer falls to the ground.
One thing I don't get is that why the hell did he not take the hammer with him? It's like it's one of the things
that's wedged in him.
It's like not only is it, but it's like one of the things that can kill
him still. Yeah.
Why don't you just take it with you and hide it somewhere?
Exactly. And then spoiler alert. Question time. I'm doing this because it's going to segue later, okay? So we're not going to talk about the end just yet. On to your guys' questions. No? Questions. What happens when you ask a question?
You get answers.
My friend Harjot.
Yes.
We had a telephone communication call.
Yes.
We rang each other. Yeah. And he asked, what the hell did the end mean?
Yes. Ah, see the segue.
Segue. And I obviously there's a meme going around.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a meme going around of people turning into sort of dust. And that is what happened at the end of the film. You had first was Barnes. Cap was like, "Where'd he go?"
Yeah.
Barnes was like, "Steve."
Yeah.
Into that dust. So what does the end mean? What does the end mean? I'm glad you asked that. So
Just looking at you cluelessly, I was like, "You asking me this?"
no. So do you know what they mean? Do you know what that means?
Well, I know what it is. What it means is a totally different thing.
What it is? They're dead.
They're dead.
By clicking his fingers, half the universe will still exist,
just,
is what he said.
Yeah.
Clicking the fingers, that's just the half of the universe that I
got
guess
bad
they
luck.
chose. Yeah, that they were bad luck at the time, you know.
Remember, it's just, he said earlier on the film, we're not picking, rich or poor.
He talked about when
fair chance for everybody.
When he talked about Titan and destroying Titan, it was just a half. There was nobody. I got the golden ticket, Thanos. Can I survive?
Little cool thing. Sorry, we didn't talk about it there. Is that when he's talking to Doctor Strange, he uses the Reality Stone
to show,
and he explains Titan, and he explains it, and he's like, I came with an idea. We kill off half the population. We don't discriminate rich from poor. And then it's like, and they called him a madman. So they rejected it.
Yeah.
And the planet turned to shit.
Exactly.
And it's just like
proved him right.
It's like proved him right. And it's just another thing that's like, yeah, you're gonna kill my favorite characters or my favorite people, or if I was in the universe, possibly kill me.
Yeah.
So of course I'm not gonna support it. But
Cahan.
But from a completely practical standpoint, it's like, yeah, you can't understand.
And also, what I thought about later on was Gamora was like, you don't know that.
Yeah,
but he kind of did. But also, what's
a big problem in our modern world?
Yeah, exactly.
Resources running out.
Resources running out. So Hajjal, to answer your question, they died.
They died.
They died.
Full stop. They are dead.
They are dead. Yes, as of right now, they're dead. If next movie reverses it, who knows? But as of right now, those who turned into dust are dead.
They are dead. Right now, half the Avengers are gone, just like half the world is gone.
Absolutely. And
they probably won't be big, at least. I mean, like everyone says, of course, they're going to bring back a couple of these characters. And I mean, I don't want to say of course, because then it just completely undermines what happened. But they are more than likely going to bring at least Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and Black Panther back.
Yeah.
At the very least, those three characters are going to come back because they're the...
If Black Panther gets a billion at the box office, I don't think they're just going to kill them.
They're going to be staples for the next set of Avengers films.
They will, yeah.
But, at least in terms of this universe, they are dead, and they probably aren't going to feature heavily in Avengers 4.
No.
They are dead, and Avengers 4, I don't know, it's not what we're expecting, apparently. And I trust them in that, because this wasn't what we were expecting.
It's going to be a musical.
Yeah. We should cast that as well.
Avengers! It's like this musical number.
But...
I'm Thanos, I killed the world. He's Thanos, he killed the world.
But yeah, I mean, I can't say it anymore, but they're dead.
Yeah, so, and also, yeah, I can talk about this now real quick, but the way they all died.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man got me, and this ties into Tian's question.
This is no place to die.
Tian's question: why did I cry so hard? Because you're a wuss. No, because I guess it's the way these films have. We've talked about this throughout this podcast. The development of these characters makes you feel for them. The realism of these characters, and Spider-Man's one got me. The way he was choking up. We heard earlier this is a one-way trip.
Avengers 4. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
But earlier Stark was like, this is a one-way trip. Don't tell me you thought this through. He's like, I did think this through.
And that's why he's pissed off why he came. He's
exactly.
Like, why the hell are you here? It's a one-way trip.
Exactly. But earlier Peter's like, no, I knew that. Yeah. And then he's like, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. I don't want to go.
It goes to show that he didn't take it seriously. Like, he thought that he was going to make it through at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And it's even more gut-wrenching because that's such a childish thing. Like, not childish in the sense
but he's a kid.
It's like, of course you have that eternal optimism that you're going to make it through. Of course.
He's Spider-Man.
Your role model, Iron Man's with you. You're going to do it. But he doesn't want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And...
yeah, and they all really hit, with Bucky, and then you had, who went after Bucky?
Oh, was Bucky the nose Black Panther?
Oh, yeah, that one caught me. I thought it was a Koye vanishing.
Yeah, I thought it was a Koye.
Up, General, up.
Yeah.
You had Groot.
Rockets, no, it's
Yeah, Bradley Cooper's voice. Yeah, I haven't mentioned this yet, but both Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper's voiceover work is phenomenal.
Yeah,
I think it's something.
Especially Bradley Cooper, because I mean, my God, he felt like a real life character.
He does, especially in all three of those films. I'm sure it was talked about heaps when the first one came out, but I think that's something that should keep being brought up. Is Bradley Cooper's work, as well as they do motion capture on his face for a lot of it. It's brilliant. Yeah. You had Falcon. And also, I like the little War Machine Falcon.
Yeah.
You know, Sam, where are you? And then he goes, Scarlet Witch. What I thought was interesting is it looked like she was at peace.
Yeah, she looked happy that she was going. I mean, not happy, but she wasn't like, yes, I'm going to die, but she's like, I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Who else went? The Guardians, Drax, Mantis, and
yeah, all the Guardians go, apart from Rocket.
And Strange went.
And Spider-Man went.
Yeah.
And our cinema, it was like...
It was, it was one
after the other. Those last three really were like... Peter Quill went and they were like... Doctor Strange went, they're like... And when Spider-Man went, they were like, oh no.
Yeah, exactly. People were not expecting that. And following that, obviously, we'll talk about the end real quick and we'll get into some more questions. But the silence at the end is what got me.
Yeah, the final 2 minutes.
It's like very silent.
After he's like, Mr. Stark, I don't want to go. And Tony's like, you're all right, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Gamora says he did it.
Yep. Nebula says he did it.
Nebula says he did it.
War Machine then asks,
like, what happened? And Steve's like, oh God.
And that was the silence.
And those are the last lines of the film.
And then you goes to Thanos,
who looked the violin. Like, that's like some things. I mean, I'm not big on like orchestral music. I am big on, but I don't know a lot about it. But some instruments just really bring out emotions when played well. And a violin is very haunting and very melancholy. And I'm pretty sure it was a violin. Like it was Thanos.
It's like we said, that's haunting, but it's like it's peaceful but haunting. Yeah. It's so
Thanos is sitting down and he smiles and he's like, I've done it.
But he doesn't even say that. You see it in his expression.
Like he doesn't say it, but you can tell. It's just like he's like.
Also, what I noted, people noted differently, but his arm's still messed up.
He's still messed up, yeah. And he's still walking a bit funny, so obviously
he's still in.
He's a bit sore.
But and then
cut to black.
Cut to black. Directed by Anthony Joe. So I remember people going, no, what, no. And then everyone sat there for another half hour waiting for the end credit scene to show up, which we'll talk about right after the questions. Let's go through some questions. Anton Ward asks, Spider-Man, is he from the future? No, I thought he said that as well. When Spider-Man first shows up, he says, Stark is like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
I thought he said, I'm from the future. No, he said, I came from the field trip.
I came from a field trip.
So that's what happened. Jesse said, what happened to Spider-Man?
He turned to dust.
We explain it when you're listening, Jesse. What the hell? We already explained that. He's dead. Oliver says, where are the people that weren't in the film like Hawkeye and Ant-Man? Dust. No. So they told us earlier on that there was a pardon for both Barton and
Barton. Like how you said that.
Barton and Lang.
And Lang, because they had families and it was just too hard on them, so they struck deals.
Yep, absolutely. And we see that in the trailer for Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer. He's on some sort of home detention. Yep. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp will take place about a year, maybe half a year before.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be weeks. It'll be days, if not weeks, before Infinity War.
I'd say months. I'd say quite a bit.
But like the end of the Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think the end credit scene will be someone vanishing.
Oh.
I think.
Wasp.
Yep, because she's got a big role. She's got a big role in Avengers, so it's either Ant-Man.
No, but Ant-Man's in Avengers.
Okay, yeah, but it's one of them that goes.
Yeah.
I would be so heartbroken if it's Ant-Man's daughter.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine that? No. If just imagine if she went. But yeah, so Hawkeye, I'm guessing, is just back in his crib.
Yeah.
Yo, what up? I'm in my crib. He's doing up the kitchen.
Hawkeye's family.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to bring them back. Is because Ant-Man and Hawkeye's family will. I don't know if Hawkeye will be in Ant-Man and the Wasp. If it's an end credit scene that shows similar to the end credit scene for this film with Maria Hill and Nick Fury. So they disappeared. If those of you don't know, they disappeared, and Nick Fury's got a little device, and he transmits some sort of beacon to Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel. That'll obviously be alluded to in the next one. But I think Ant-Man and the Wasp will have Hawkeye in some form, whether it be his family or Lang's family disappearing, and that's what causes them.
It's be real sad.
What?
If Hawkeye disappears, and so he's not in Avengers 3 like we thought he was.
Or 4.
And he's most definitely not.
He's just dead.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's just-
Jeremy Renner got stuck on a flight here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
No. So Spider-Man is what happened to Spider-Man? We already told you. People, Hawkeye and Ant-Man. I think they're at home detention, and we will understand what's happening with them.
Yeah.
Either in Ant-Man and the Wasp, or maybe I think end credits for Hawkeye. But at the end of the film for Ant-Man and the Wasp, we'll get an understanding of what's exactly going on with them. But at the moment, they're on home detention. Both Casey and Hunter wanted to know which stone is most powerful in our opinion.
In our opinion.
So I've got. I haven't thought about this. I've got an idea about how the stones work, but
How do you define powerful though?
It's a very good question.
I mean,
one of them is literally called a power stone.
yeah, and one literally you can reverse anything that's done. Like that's
Absolutely.
the ultimate power, you know. So I just guess we'll approach it this way, at least in terms of Thanos is one. Okay, Thanos doesn't want to wipe out half the population. He wants to take over the world. Mm-hmm. He wants to just take over the world.
Yeah.
He wants to take over the universe. What stone then is most powerful? Mm-hmm. Because in the movie he was collecting all 6 so he could then snap his fingers and do what he does. He just wants to rule everything now. Mm-hmm. Of those 6, which one would be most useful to him?
I think the first one he got.
The purple one.
Yeah. I think that he could have done relatively well
Power.
just with that one.
Yeah.
I think he did relatively well with that up until a certain point. You know, the way he utilized the other ones, we didn't actually see the Mind Stone in his hand.
I'd probably agree with you because that purple one was destroying the planet and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
So just terms in power, the power.
Power Stone. Yeah, that's
Which
what
one
I
would
think
you want though?
to be.
Which stone would you want?
Which stone would I want? I would probably. I'm really interested in the way the ether.
I like the reality
I'm
stone.
interested in how that works.
Were those bubbles? Like, did he actually turn those into bubbles, or was that just like an illusion thing? Because I said this to someone. Like, depending on how the stone works, couldn't he just be like, "Nah, I'll keep all the people in the universe. I'll just give them reality food.
Reality
feed
food.
them with reality." You know, but
And depending on how we look at it, the Soul Stone actually, when it's used in the Gauntlet, those who die because of the Gauntlet go into the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
It's like a prison.
Yeah.
So whether or not, I don't know in this context, you know, before we said they're all dead, I don't know if in the film's context whether they are dead or whether or not they're in the Soul Stone. So that's something that will be established later on. I personally am interested when it comes to what I think is most powerful, in my opinion. If my theory around Gamora being inside the Soul Stone and Vision being inside the Mind Stone, if they are still in there, they could be quite interesting to know if they can break out of that somehow and use that to their advantage. So I'm interested to see whether or not that is a part of being powerful.
Yeah, he's a bit of like a little side game, I suppose.
Okay.
But let's rank how you like how individually the stones were implemented in the film. Mm-hmm. So like how effective and just visually how cool they were.
I think.
So obviously the last one would be the Mind Stone because he got that right before.
You don't really see how he used it.
Then second to last would probably be the Soul Stone because he really didn't use that at all either. Mm-hmm. So the 4 that we have is the Power Stone.
I think the Tesseract's next because you're just teleporting people.
I like the way they use the Power Stone.
I think Power Stone's at the top as the best one to use.
The way, like for me personally, the way that they used it and the way that the visually was represented, I liked the Power Stone. Mm-hmm. Then I liked the Reality Stone, the Ether. Then
the Time Stone.
Then I liked the Time Stone.
We have the exact same list.
And then the Tesseract.
The Tesseract, yeah.
And then obviously
the
bottom two.
And the other 2, yeah. That
We're
too similar. We need a new host. I'm firing me, not Cahan, because he's way more entertaining. But yeah, that is our opinion. Hopefully we answered that
question.
question.
It's called the Sir Brady Podcast, man. I have to go.
Ewan asked, why is Gamora?
How is Gamora?
When is Gamora? Who, what, when, where, why? Yeah, we got them all. Yay, Ewan, we got them all. Denny asked, how does randomly killing half the population of everyone solve any problems at all?
Nice.
I'm personally, Denny is a hilarious man. I took this as a joke first, but then I thought about it, and that's a really interesting question.
Yeah, how does this solve anything?
How does this actually? Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't change the nature of what's destroying the universe. Mm-hmm. Guess it buys it time. Maybe. Like honestly, I get where he's coming from. Like I get where and I understand and I can understand how his what his goal and how it works. Like wiping out half the universe, it is actually kind of a quick, fast remedy for what's going on.
Absolutely.
But so yeah, the movie explains it, I suppose.
I guess by wiping out half the population, they talked about it with Gamora's people.
Yeah.
They sort of resolved their differences. They had to work
the problems.
Yeah, they had to work together
like
to yeah.
Like Gamora was starving sometimes when she was a kid.
Yeah, and by wiping out half of them,
it's a paradise.
Yeah.
It's a lovely visual place, and no kid goes hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
And Titan, the Philippines, they didn't do that.
Exactly, and it ended.
And look what the planet's like.
It's gone. So I think it's a way of everyone's sort of
certainly an extreme.
They put their differences aside, and they sort of work together to figure out how they can now, I guess, renew their environment.
It's certainly
planet.
an extreme.
It is.
Wiping out half the universe.
It is.
It is actually kind of a fixed problem for the problem that he views. And because he says when he's in with Gamora in the throne room, the universe is finite. Its resources are finite. Nothing's infinite.
Yeah.
It only goes so far.
Exactly, yeah.
And he says, and that's like one of my favorite lines actually, is that he says, I may be the only one who sees it.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly the only one with the will to do something.
The will
about
to
it.
do something about it's
like,
a strong.
Dang, he's like so self-assured that I'm like, whew, I would like. If he was like a general in like an army, I'm like, that army's winning the war.
If he told me to join the army, I'd be like, "Sure, you seem self-assured. I'm gonna go there.
Your cause is just."
But yeah, so I think that's what randomly killing half the. I think it's got to do with you put everyone back.
Yeah.
2 steps. Was it like 1 step?
One step forward, 2 steps back. Except this is no step forward; it's just 3 steps back.
Yeah. Lastly, Pavan asked where did Ron go.
Guarding the sanctum.
He's guarding the sanctum. We talked about this earlier. Definitely wanted to know what the purpose of the Hulk was.
The Hulk.
I said this earlier. There's a Ruffalo talked
to get
about
his ass handed to him by Thanos.
Yeah, there's a 3 arc. There's a 3 arc.
Yeah.
Ruffalo talked about this in interviews that there is going to be a 3 arc for Hulk. First one was Ragnarok. We see that he'd been Hulk for 2 years. He's this champion, and Banner struggled to go back into himself. And then he again at the end of Ragnarok, he jumped out of the ship with Valkyrie in it, and he smacks onto the ground. Because he can't
I laughed my ass.
Yeah, but he can't turn back into the Hulk as easily.
It will.
And you see as well at the beginning of this film, the lullaby doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
The tide's getting real low. That doesn't work anymore. But also getting angry.
Yeah.
He has control of the Hulk, so neither way works.
It's becoming 2 separate entities. It's becoming less Jekyll and Hyde and more Jekyll and Hyde. That makes any sense whatsoever.
It doesn't. I do.
Like Jekyll and Hyde, they're like he turns into Hyde. They encompass the same body, but at the same time they're so different. They're each individuals, and one does not necessarily control the other.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's becoming. It's like someone with multiple personality disorder. They're 2 people. One cannot call upon the other. And one cannot force themselves upon the other, and they just share a body.
They do, yeah.
And it just seems at this point in time, Hulk's stronger than Banner in that aspect. So
absolutely, yeah.
When he wants to come out, he'll come out, and he wants to
he'll stay in, yeah. And I think that's exactly right. Whether or not Hulk being thrashed by Thanos,
there was a statement fight.
It was
for us as the viewer. It was just like
Hulk's just like, I don't want to come out.
Yeah. But,
I think that is the purpose of the Hulk. So obviously, there's from technical sides, there's a 3-story arc. But again, it's that Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah. Banner doesn't have control over the Hulk. Hulk does not have. Yeah, it's Hulk. I think's got the most amount of control. Like you said,
they don't control the other, but Hulk has the stronger will right now.
Yeah.
So when he wants to come out, he'll come out, and when he wants to stay, he'll stay. But he doesn't force Banner. Well, he does force Banner because he's coming out, but he's not. He doesn't. Force Banner into coming back.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. It's a bit like vomit. You can't, it's terrible play.
Nice analogy.
That was the end of my notes. Aside from why did I cry so hard? Because you're a wuss, Tian.
How long?
How long are we at? We're at. Oh my god, we're at almost at 2 hours.
Oh shit! Still for another half an hour. Then this could be an audio commentary for the film.
Yeah, exactly. We'll put this run. This is almost just as long as our first episode, which is very long. Yeah. We had a lot to talk about.
We'll quick fire off a couple questions together.
Okay.
Just so we can get a general all-round feeling for it. Because we've described the film and we've discussed the film, but how do we feel about the film? So
It was so bad, I went and watched Romeo and Juliet after.
Okay, favorite character?
Favorite-
Apart from Thanos.
Favorite character, Gamora. I really liked her arc. And the fact that she's not really... I think just past halfway through the film, she dies.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a very strong move to do. But her... Zoe Saldana's acting, her character that's been established, and then we see it executed more in this.
Yeah.
Really well done.
I really like Thor.
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 He's definitely up there as well for me.
Like Thor was just, in terms of story plot, but also his own personal journey in the sense of, like, it's not as potent as Gamora's is, but it's just like we've all been down. You know, we've all been down at the bottom of the bottom, self cause or not. You know, like if it's you're just down yourself because you had a bad week,
Yeah.
or you know you haven't got money and the world's against you, essentially.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing. But Thor is at the lowest he's ever been.
And what Rocket was saying...
Lower than he
Yeah.
was in Thor 1. Because his father was punishing him.
Exactly.
He ain't got his father anymore. His brother, his mother, his sister, half his even
His
over half
friends.
his race.
His friends.
His friends. He has no one.
That scene with the Rocket, I didn't put that together recently after Ragnarok. You know, it's like, you know, oh, you said your brother, your sister, and what great acting from Hemsworth, but he's like, but I'm still ready. You know, the might, and it feels, and
He hasn't fought me. He has.
Yeah.
He hasn't fought me twice though.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and he tears up, and it was really powerful.
And because even though he does barely anything in context of the film, like he goes gets him and then he comes back and buries it in Thanos' chest. Still, he's a character that like I could just get behind. You know,
Absolutely.
and just like wow. Okay, we'll go on to favorite stone because we've already kind of done that. I really like the reality stone. What do you
Power.
like? Power. Okay. I also like the power stone. Favorite group. Which one worked for you the most?
I thought it's not, I don't know.
I mean, I know.
Can I call Scarlet Witch and Vision a group?
Okay, you can call Scarlet
Because
Witch.
that's dynamic. I think we've seen a little bit at the end of Age of Ultron.
Okay, I
Seen
don't want to
it-
say favorite group because it implies others aren't. But which one worked for you the most?
That one, because we've seen a little bit in Age of Ultron, we've seen a little bit in Civil War, but those aren't their stories. The Avengers stories are kind of their stories in a way, because that's where they started. But the way the film worked with these two in the way that, again, between the films there is a time that has been established and that they do stuff. But it just really worked, that relationship that they've started. And I think Vision knows how powerful he is, so they're afraid, they want to understand each other, and they relate so well to each other. And the acting between the two of them is so phenomenal. And that end scene, it got me both times. It'll probably get me a third, fourth, fifth time when Vision just says to Scarlet Witch that we're out of time.
Yeah, and as I said before earlier on the cast, my favorite is Thanos and his personal interactions with individual characters. You know, and there is very few of them. Like there's a tiny one with Thor at the beginning, I suppose. And then there's only other four others: Strange, Stark, Gamora, and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
But I liked all four of them because it completed Thanos' character.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Can I gotta pose this question? Let's just say everyone who died in this film is dead. Who are you gonna miss?
I'm gonna miss Doctor Strange.
Yeah?
I am. Because I liked characters grow.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously as characters grow, they get a new movie to explore this new aspect of them.
Absolutely.
Black Panther just came out just beforehand, so the Black Panther we see now is the Black Panther that's not far removed from what we saw in Black Panther.
Yeah.
Now Spider-Man, he's still Spider-Man. Like Peter Parker's character doesn't really change that much.
No.
You know, but there
Uncle
was-
Ben died. Oh no, I'm sad.
Yeah, but there was 2 years between Doctor Strange, almost 2 years or a year and a bit between Doctor Strange and this one, and obviously he does character growth throughout this film.
You see a little bit
But
in
he's
Ragnarok.
he's also different than he was in Doctor Strange.
Absolutely.
You know, and so because I've gotten the most character growth from him, I suppose he's gonna be the one that I missed the most. You
Loki.
lucky? Ah, yeah.
The way he's evolved. I remember watching Thor: The Dark World.
The poor thing for you is that he didn't turn to ash, so there's no chance of him returning.
He ain't returning. I think there's a possibility there could be some flashback stuff with him in the next one. Like we said, 2012
Yeah, 'cause
Avengers is going to be
been
pretty.
shot of him, yeah.
But in the Dark, I remember watching Thor: The Dark World, and
He has had quite the journey.
there's a quiet scene where there's music playing, and he's told by a guard that his mum had died. And obviously, early in the film, he's like, "You're not my family." You know, he's really against that, but he still felt for it. And then he does this thing where he throws things against the wall. And then when Thor comes from later on, he's doing he's doing the Master of Illusion. He looks like he is, and then it goes away, and he's got his foot's all cut and bloodied, and he's sitting in that cell. But the way Tom Hiddleston in the Loki character has evolved, and what I liked is I'm still not sure at the end when he died, when he's like, you need a guide. And then Thanos like, do you experience failure experience? He's like, I consider experience. I honestly thought that he was going to play everyone again. And
yes.
even though he aimed the thing at Thanos, I'm not sure if Thanos didn't kill him, that he would not attempt to escape being, you know what I mean? Like if Thanos didn't kill him because he tried to stab him, and then he was like, no, I'll take you along.
Escape the Black Order kind of
thing. But I don't know if he would go and start working with the Black Order. It was super just like unsure how exactly it was going to play out. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah. Like, okay, most underused character.
Underused character. Me. No. I'm thinking more Captain America.
Yeah.
I think just because of the current status of where he is. His story and the way he has not been... This has not been utilized. I think just because he hasn't connected with Thanos yet.
Yep.
The story's about Thanos, the story's about him. And because he hasn't connected yet, we haven't been able to resolve the Accords storyline because it's not about the Accords in this film. And because he didn't really get a chance to go up against Thanos.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that aspect. And I guess what makes it almost like a compound thing is that, like, I can understand why they didn't have Captain America fight Thanos, or because, I mean, the only reason, like, Doctor Strange fought Thanos because of magic. You know, Thor's a god. You know, Iron Man has nanotechnology, but even then he got his ass handed to him. You know, Captain America's just a dude, so it would be like stretching it to have Captain America fight Thanos.
Absolutely.
So I can understand why they didn't have any of the characters on Earth have like interactions or fights with Thanos. But I guess what made me feel like they were just underused in the sense, and I'm talking about all of them, but Captain America mostly because he's the biggest character there, is that what they had them doing in spite of that, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You know, because I mean, if you just look at what Captain America did, and it's very much like what Thor did, in the sense of they didn't do much in terms of overall story, but Thor obviously daggered. Thanos at the end daggered. You know, but Cap, he picked up Vision when he was sore.
Why are you using childish?
Sorry.
When he had a boo-boo, he picked up Vision
stabbed, okay,
and he kissed it better.
And this is all of the characters. They go to Wakanda.
Yeah.
And then they fight, and then Thanos comes along and just beats the crap out of them. You know. So what they did for most of the film, a 2.5 hour film with that, is if I had a critique of the film, this is as close to a critique as I can get, is that all they did was fight aliens. You know.
Wow. That's a summarization that I don't admire. Yeah, they did.
You know, and that's why he feels severely, because he is. But I can also understand why, at least in the context of this film, it couldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so underused character is okay
for both of us as Cap.
And okay, last question, I suppose. The character that was most vital to the story, like without this character, Thanos would have just walked all over anyone.
Howard the Duck.
Nice.
Without, I think it's Gamora again.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's kind of obvious because he needed to kill Gamora to get the Soul Stone.
Didn't know where the Soul Stone was without Gamora.
Shitty question. Never mind.
No, but I think Gamora. If we remove the Soul Stone from it, I think it's Thor, Gamora. It's those lead characters that I think influence the film the most.
Thanos is probably both our favorite character in this film. Okay, out of your heroes, give me a top 3. Not in any order, just 3 that you just rise above in context of the film and just did it for you.
It's definitely Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch, Gamora, and I want to say Star-Lord, because the Gamora Thanos Star-Lord relationship.
Yeah.
I might just choose those 3 because I just said
no.
That relationship between the 3 of them, without even being in the same scene at times, and was a lot of the emotional pull of this film.
Yeah. I've got Gamora too. I've got Thor, and I've got Iron Man. And the reason for Gamora is probably the same as you. Very emotional, very...
Yeah.
You know, she is the emotional center of the film, if I had to pick one.
Yeah.
Thor is... Well, I explained why I liked Thor before. And I picked Iron Man because, obviously, I'm a big fan.
He gets paid the most.
But, yeah, but also that... I've said this before, and, I mean, the Iron Man films for me, they're cool, but... Yeah, I could live without them, you know?
Sure.
In the sense of, maybe, except for maybe Iron Man 1, you know? But I always found that Iron Man's best growth as a character is done through the team-up films.
The Avengers ones, yeah.
And it's just weird, you know? I said that in the last podcast, I think. And yet again, like...
He was adamant in this film.
He's adamant, and he grows again in his character, you know? And that's just what appeals to me so much, is that... Even now, in this big amalgamation of a film where you don't think there's a lot of room for character growth, you just think what happens, and that's it. You know, and it's not just Iron Man, don't get me wrong.
A lot of them are, yeah.
You know, I just happen to coincide with Iron Man because he's my favourite character, but he grows again. You know, Doctor Strange grows. You know, Peter Quill in his weird sort of way grows.
Banner
Drax
grows.
does.
Yeah, Drax grows. Banner.
Everyone does, you know? And it's just... cool to see that yet again in another team-up film.
Groot literally grew a few more inches.
Yeah. And yeah, so if I had to pick three, it would probably be those three.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the film and you listen to this whole thing, you're what's wrong with the world.
Oof. Yeah, you could have gone at this film.
Yeah, you probably
much.
could have gone and watched this film and still got just as much out of it. Real quick, I've done YouTubes.
Yay!
I've done a video. We did a video at uni where we interviewed me, and I put that up, and it's a little bit of like, who am I? Where did Sir Brady come from?
And I feature there.
You did. There is some
very youthful self.
never before seen footage online of us doing a short film series called Die Die Die.
Homemade film series.
If you want to see those, you can come to my house. I have a DVD copy. That is the only copy I have, I think. So you can come over and watch it. I did back last week. It was Anzac Day. I did a little summary of my time in Belgium.
That's where we went. That's the day we saw the movie, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. We saw Anzac Day. Yes, I did a little video about how I felt being in Belgium. Sort of a nod to Anzac Day. Upcoming this week, there is a podcast clip from when you and I talked about Groot versus Chewbacca.
Oh, wow.
I put that together. That'll be out later on in the week. And following that is the very late installment of 5 Things You Missed from April. I got to the end of April and I realized I hadn't written anything.
And one thing Paris missed, April itself.
April itself, absolutely. That's exactly what I missed. So that'll be up a week later than it should be, but that'll still be there. And until then, thank you, Cahan.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
Oh.
What we watched when you were in this... I figured something out.
Guess what?
We're out of time.
We're out of time. I honestly
Next.
don't know. If you could say right now what you watched when they weren't listening, aside from Avengers, then that was it.
Bye, guys.
Also, apologies. I only noticed before, but Cahan's mic just doesn't want to pick up anything. So sorry for the weird volume.
There's probably points in this because now I'm speaking extra loud, so Paris's mic can pick me up. But I'm probably just quiet and you can't hear me.
I'll try and fix it in the edit. If not, thank you. Thank you to all those people who commented some questions. Really appreciate that sort of response. And as always, check out the other podcasts, check out the social medias, and just check out me in the street. If you see me walking along, check me out and be like, yeah. Don't do that one.
Yeah, maybe not that one. Be like, it's Sir Brady!
Yay!
Woohoo!
Thank you as always. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here.
That's great to, yeah.
Same closing, 10 weeks in a row.
It's never the same. All right, bye guys.
Bye.